Let's do this. Another day, another dollar, another edition of The Drive. You are listening to The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. My name is Carrington Harrison. Excited to be here with you on this wonderful Thursday, as it is now full speed ahead to week 2 between the Chiefs and the Bengals. We'll get to that coming up in just a bit. We also will talk about the Kansas City Royals. I do think we have come to a conclusion about the playoffs regarding them. I'll tell you what that is coming up in a bit. We're going to take a trip out to Cincinnati. K-State fans, I told you guys yesterday that I apologize. We could not have a player on the show, but we will have Avery Johnson on the show next week if you guys win. So take care of business at home against Arizona. And we will have Avery Johnson on the show next week. If you missed it, we had Christian Williams from Missouri on the show yesterday. If you want to check the podcast page, you can get that there. We did not have a KU player on the show this week because KU did not win this week. If you guys do what you're supposed to do against UNLV, we are happy to have Devin Neal back on the show. We will catch up with him next week if the Kansas Jayhawks take care of business at home. Are you calling that at home? It's not at home, but it's at home.
It's more at home than in Las Vegas. So, yeah, that's home.
Okay, because it feels like, you know, how KU will play a team and they call it a neutral site, but you played Washington in December at Sprint Center. That's not a non-conference basketball game, but that's neither here nor there. So we are happy that you were here. Shout out to you if you were watching the show on Twitch. If you were watching the show on YouTube, we still care about you, even if you're listening to the show over on 610 AM. We would encourage you to come over to the FM side. Come on over to 96.5 The Fan. But you know what? It counts the same to me if you're listening on 96.5 FM or 610 AM. So you are perfectly fine to listen to it however you want to listen to it. We will get to the Chiefs coming up after Rob gives you a chance to win a pizza.
Pizza time on The Drive. Carrington, dial me up right now. Caller number 6, 913-586-7965. Caller number 6 wins a pizza from our friends over at Pizza Tassio. Pizza Tassio is Kansas City's best New York-style pizza, and they've taken over the city. They got locations everywhere, like Waldo, Belton, North KC, Overland Park, and Midtown. They also have a killer selection of craft and local beers, plus unique wines. So whether in the mood for a whole pie or just a slice or two is good enough for you, be sure to visit them now at pizzatassio.com. That's pizza-tassio.com.
I need you guys to do me a couple of favors. Number one, I need you listening to The Drive each day at 96.5 The Fan. And number two, I need you to tell one friend. I don't need you to tell two friends that if you want some of the best pizza in Kansas City and you're also excited about college and pro football, the best place to do that is with us right here on 96.5 The Fan. So I saw a lot of pushback from you guys yesterday when I gave you my quick list. And the list was, these are who I currently think are the Chiefs' 5 biggest rivals. Let's start from 5 and let's go to 1. Number 5, the Las Vegas Raiders. Number 4, the Los Angeles Chargers. Number 3, the Buffalo Bills. Number 2, the Baltimore Ravens. And number 1, their biggest rival, is the Cincinnati Bengals. We got a chance to catch up with the afternoon host in Cincinnati. We'll play that for you later on in the show. But this is how he started our conversation. He agrees with me.
I think it's become the best organic rivalry in the NFL, where, you know, it's not based on, you know, being division foes. It's not based on geography. It's not based on, you know, some sort of long-time history. It's based on a lot of really good games, a lot of really high-stakes games. And I think, as much as I don't think these two teams really like each other, I do think there's a ton of mutual respect. And so I don't care who you root for. I think if you're an NFL fan, you've had this one circled since the schedule came out.
So that is Mo Edgar. He hosts afternoons in Cincinnati, and he believes that this is the most organic rivalry in the National Football League. I tell you guys this every year, that college rivalries are based on long-standing traditions, where NFL rivalries are based in competitiveness. If you are from my era, my generation of the NFL, every year you look forward to watching the Patriots play the Indianapolis Colts. Those two teams were not in the division, but you knew every single year that those two teams were going to be competing for a Super Bowl, and the winner of that game is going to have the inside track to being the 1 seed. You knew the importance of it. It didn't matter if that game was in week 2. It didn't matter if that game was in week 13. You knew the importance of that game. I was talking to Cody in between breaks earlier in this week, and he said that his biggest takeaway from this game is you have a chance to eliminate the Cincinnati Bengals from the 1 seed conversation. You're going to have a 2-game lead on them plus the tiebreaker. I don't see a scenario that Cincinnati then wins 13 games and Kansas City only wins 12. So I know it's early to be having that conversation, and we're not going to dive fully into that conversation. But if you were talking about January, which is all it really matters for this team, you got a chance to deliver a mighty blow to one of your biggest competitors, and in my opinion, your biggest rival in the AFC. And a major reason of why I think this is, boy, these two teams like to talk. The Chiefs, for the most part, they've only really talked in one of these matchups. Now, you guys remember, Justin Reed was firing back and forth. Both sides were doing a lot of yapping. For the most part, it is their side that does a lot of the talking. Remember how I told you guys last week that I think the Baltimore Ravens, they try to big homie the Chiefs. They try to be more physical, big, bad, They try to do that to Kansas City. It's like Cincinnati tries to draw Kansas City in with the bulletin board material and talking tough and tries to psych them out and get inside their head. If you don't believe me, this is what their number one corner said earlier today about Xavier Worthy. Xavier Worthy, who has been on the team for about 19 minutes, he's already receiving trash talk from the Cincinnati Bengals. That's how I know you're a real threat. You're a real member of the Kansas City Chiefs. Here is Cameron Tyler Britt. He was asked a question about how you stop Xavier Worthy, who had 2 touchdowns, one of the better performances from a rookie in week 1. Here's what he said.
That's about it. He can run straight. Run jet sweeps and just run straight. We can't do too much else, so that's about it. Feel like you put your hands on him. He's only 100-something pounds. So if you put hands on him, you'll stop the speed. So basically get hands on him.
They're already doing the yapping. You're too small. You're a gimmick. That's what he called Xavier Worthy. He didn't use those words, but if you say you're a 5'10", 155-pound, soaking wet, all you can do is run straight, all you can do is jet sweeps, you can't do anything else. He called you a gadget player. He called you a gimmick. You dominated at the University of Texas. You were a first-round pick in the National Football League. You scored 2 times in your first game. You only touched the ball 3 times, and that man has the audacity, the unmitigated gall to call you a gadget player and say all you can do is run fast. This wasn't the first time that they've been yapping. They've been yapping like this for years. You guys remember this, and this one came back to bite them in the rump.
Good afternoon, Cincinnati. I have a proclamation from the desk of the mayor. Be it proclaimed, whereas the Cincinnati Bengals are headed to Burrow Stadium for their 2nd consecutive AFC Championship game. Whereas at last year's game, the Bengals scored more points than the Chiefs, resulting in a Bengals victory and a Chiefs loss. Whereas Joseph Lee Burrow, who's 3-0 against Mahomes, has been asked by officials to take a paternity test confirming whether or not he's his father. Whereas all season long, Cincinnati has been on a path of destiny, fighting it out to overcome anyone who stands between them and a Super Bowl win. And whereas Kansas City is named after its neighboring state, which is, just kind of weird. Now, therefore, I, Aftab Purval, Mayor of the City of Cincinnati, do hereby proclaim January 29th, 2023 as They Gotta Play Us Day in Cincinnati. Thank you.
That was the mayor of Cincinnati, and you guys know the Chiefs won that game, and trust me, they heard all of that, and everybody was firing back. It didn't matter if it was Travis Kelce, it didn't matter if it was Chris Jones. The Chiefs took this as a sign of disrespect. At some point in this season, we are going to have a conversation about the Chiefs playing down to the level of their competition. That game feels like Tampa Bay. That game feels like New Orleans. Maybe it happens next week against the Atlanta Falcons. The Chiefs just come out there. They got C+, C- energy. They just don't bring it in the first half of the game, and they got to cobble a win together. If there is a team that is going to get the focus of the Kansas City Chiefs, the team that is going to get the absolute best version that the Week 2 Kansas City Chiefs can give you, it is the team that said this.
We'll see y'all in Burrow head. Yeah, baby. Let that sink in your mind. We'll see y'all in Burrow head.
I think this is the best game on the slate for this week in the National Football League. There might be 2 1-0 teams and some surprise teams. Sunday Night Football should be fun this week. Get a chance to see C.J. Stroud up against Caleb Williams. Monday Night Football has the Falcons and the Eagles going up against each other, 2 teams that had some preseason hype and some preseason buzz. You were talking about 2 teams that love to go back and forth, 2 teams that don't like each other, and a Kansas City Chiefs team that is coming into this pretty healthy, a Cincinnati team that is pretty banged up, and a Cincinnati team that got embarrassed in week 1. If there is a thing that can happen to kind of refocus you and get you back on track, it is losing at home to the New England Patriots and having the worst loss in week 1. And now you got to go on the road. You got to lock in and you got to figure out a way to avoid going to 0-2 and beat the Kansas City Chiefs. I know what the spread says, and I think the spread is fair. Kansas City should be a 6.5 point favorite in this game. We have seen far too many Chiefs and Bengals games for me to completely dismiss the Cincinnati Bengals and think that the point spread matters in this thing. This is going to be a 1 possession. This is going to be a tight ball game late. These 2 teams, that's all they know is playing tightly contested ball games. I'm going to trust the Chiefs to be the more disciplined team in this matchup. They had 12 penalties, Cincinnati did, against the New England Patriots. They only scored 10 points. They had 2 fumbles in that game. I'm not sure if they can play a clean enough game to go on the road and beat a team like Kansas City. We'll bounce back and forth between football and baseball over the course of the show. I do want to continue to talk football coming up on the other side. We got a big Thursday night football game between the Bills and the Dolphins. You guys know my stance on Miami. They're fraudulent. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Kansas football fans, picture this. You bet on your favorite player to score the first touchdown, and he throws an awesome block so his teammate can score instead. If this happens, MGM wants to give you another chance at the end zone. With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first touchdown scorer scores second instead. That's right. Bet on any pro football player to score the first touchdown of the game. If you're right, you win. If your player scores second, you get your stake back in cash. Everyone knows the most exciting part of football is the score. With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you have a chance to keep the fun going after the first player crosses the goal line. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only, Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Danan Hughes here to talk about low T. Low testosterone causes a host of problems. These include low sex drive, bad sleep patterns, unproductive workouts, decreased energy, brain fog, and more. If you're feeling like this, it's time for you to treat that low T and change your life. Heartland Men's Health are experts in treating low testosterone and other men's sexual health conditions. They've successfully treated many men for low T, and men have seen the amazing difference that those treatments can make in their life. Within just a few weeks, you'll feel your energy return, the brain fog will go away, your sleep will improve, as will your workout, and your sex drive will be significantly enhanced as well. Contact Heartland Men's Health today. They have 3 locations to serve you: Overland Park, Kansas, Independence, Missouri, between Blue Springs and Lee Summit, and their new office in North Kansas City. Contact them today at 844-447-6600 or visit heartlandmenshealth.com.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Mitchell Schwartz. You know, there's nothing easier to enjoy than watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings located at 152 Highway and North Flintlock Road in KC Mo on Thursday, September 12th. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. For more details, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
What's better than watching your team win? Winning money while you do it. I'm Jim Costa, and on Cash the Ticket, Mike Valenti and I give you the edge to make every game playable. College football, NFL, we're breaking it all down game by game. Your podcast feed is is going to be filled, and you're going to love it. You can click on the games you care about. We do it all. With our analysis, we're finding games that other people aren't talking about. We're turning every Saturday and every Sunday into days where you got a chance to win. Don't just sit on the sidelines. Cash the ticket with us. Follow Cash the Ticket in the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise, there's Grainger. Grainger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Let's face it. Nowadays, most companies have to rely on dozens of expensive, disconnected platforms to run their business. And even then, things can get a little, well, stressful. But with Odoo's all-in-one management software, packed with a suite of fully integrated business applications, every process is streamlined. Tasks are automated, and success is just a few clicks away. See how Odoo can take your business to the next level at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Using the Labor Day weekend to get some work done? We got you. Stop by any store to save on oil, fuel system cleaner, wipers, and more. Looking for an end of summer wash? We've got deals for that too. Don't want to leave the garage? Get same-day delivery on AutoZone.com. Do Labor Day your way by getting something done at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low. It just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. B21.
Okay, everyone, what did you think of the chocolate bar?
It's too chewy.
Feels kind of chalky.
Too much nougat.
I need to go brush my teeth.
Business is booming for Steph's small marketing research firm.
After all these focus groups, there's only one conclusion. I need more researchers.
And she's way too busy researching
Does this have peanuts?
to waste time researching resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Welcome to your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, welcome back into the drive on 96.5 The Fan. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very happy to be here with you on this wonderful Thursday. All right, let's talk a little bit of football. I gave you guys the analogy last year that I believe the Miami Dolphins, they are a team that only beats up on small schools. They're the 4A school that only beats up on the Class 1A and 2A schools. But when they got to play Blue Valley Northwest, when they got to play the big dogs, they usually get smoked. So tonight, they are on Thursday Night Football. They're a small favorite in this game, which blows my mind, but okay. Can I read to you guys the last 10 quarterbacks that the Miami Dolphins have beaten? This is the list. Mac Jones, Russell Wilson, Daniel Jones, Bryce Young, Mac Jones, Zach Wilson, Aiden O'Connell, Zach Wilson, Dak Prescott, Trevor Lawrence. Now, Dak Prescott is good. Dak Prescott is a top 10 quarterback in the league. I'm not sure if any of those other guys are. It's debatable on Trevor Lawrence. He's 50-50, but you guys know how I feel about Trevor Lawrence. You think they're beating Josh Allen tonight? He's healthy, right? He's playing in this. Full complement of weapons. They just scored 36 points on Sunday. They're the favorites? Okay. I do not understand it with Miami. I don't get it. I don't see what the rest of you guys see when it comes to Miami. This team has not convinced me. They have not shown me that this is a game that they are going to win. I might end up looking foolish on this, but But I do know Josh Allen is 11-4 against the Miami Dolphins in his career, and they have dominated Tua. Tua is 1-6 against Josh Allen. So if you were telling me, hey, Tua, you deserve this contract, you got all the weapons in the world, you got Tyreek Hill, you got Jalen Waddle, your head coach just got a new extension, you got some weapons in the run game, this is a home game that you are supposed to win if you're that guy. But I got severe hesitations and reservations about that Miami Dolphins team. And the only way that you can answer those questions to me is to win these kind of games. Short week, at home, Thursday night football. You've had distractions this week. Every time I turn up, your wide receiver is talking about himself like he's Nelson Mandela, like he's Meek Mill, like he was wrongly imprisoned. Every day this week, I've heard from Tyreek Hill on this issue. He's writing letters to the police force and the union, and it just feels like a distracted week that if you don't have strong leadership and a strong culture, that can be the difference in you coming out and laying an egg. So I am off the Miami Dolphins for tonight. I think Buffalo wins this game. I don't need to worry about the points because I'm taking the Bills straight up in this game. I think the Bills go on the road, and I think they beat the Dolphins tonight. The Dolphins got to prove to me, A, they can beat Buffalo, A, they can beat a team that we think can win the Super Bowl. And if you were telling me over their last 12 wins, their best win is in December against the Dallas Cowboys, that's not a good win.
I think two things are at play here, though. I think everything you're saying about the Dolphins is fair. But we both know, Carrington, you know when the Dolphins are at their absolute best? September and October. It seems like every season the Dolphins come out the gate red hot.
Yeah, they normally be playing bums. That's why they come out the gate red hot, because they be playing bums early on in the season.
I think you did a little fun with endpoints. I don't disagree with your point on Tua, but it was 2 years ago in September in Miami. The Dolphins beat Josh Allen. Remember the game where the video flashed to then offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey and he was banging this stuff?
We got to go to 2 years ago wins for them. That's what we got to go to. We got to go to 2 years ago wins.
September is when they're at their best. It's hot. They're in Miami. The league hasn't adjusted to their super speed yet, and they come out the gate hot. They are every year 5-0 and ending 9-8. That's just what they do. They did it the first year under McDaniel. They did it the second year under McDaniel, and I'm betting it happens again this year. I'm with you. I'm on the Bills. We have a little office pool. I have the Bills plus the points tonight. It seems like the safest bet on the board, but the Dolphins are a dangerous team when the games don't matter. When we haven't had the leaves change yet, the Dolphins are a threat, and the leaves haven't changed yet. So the Dolphins are, in fact, viable against teams that are just okay in September. And also, all offseason, you told me you were out on the Bills.
But you're right. I am out on the Bills. You know who I've been even more out on? I've been more out on the Jets. You have to give me that. I've never wavered in my dislike for the Jets, and I've never wavered on my dislike of the Miami Dolphins. You tell me that they were good before the leaves change. Last year, in September, they beat the Chargers, non-playoff team last year, fired their coach. They beat the New England Patriots, fired their head coach, fired their quarterback. They beat the Denver Broncos 70-20. They tried to fire their quarterback in the middle of the season. They then played Buffalo in October. Take a guess how that game went. Buffalo beat them 48-20. You want to know why Miami had to go on the road and play in that Arctic blast last year, which was Arrowhead? They had a home game against the Baltimore Ravens. They lost 56-19. They then had, remember, it was Sunday Night Football, Bills-Dolphins. If you win the division. They lost 21-14 at home to the Buffalo Bills. And no, I'm not picking Miami to win this game. They have given me no reason to believe that they are going to win this game. I'm staying as far away from the Miami Dolphins as possible. Maybe you guys will laugh at me tomorrow and say, ha, Carrington, I tried to tell you. If you were telling me that Tua has played one team 7 times and the other team has won 6, you can be on the side of the 1 if you want to. I'm over here comfortable on the 6. I'm very, very comfortable in my position that tonight on Amazon, I'm going to see the Buffalo Bills continue to show you, even in a year that we think is a transition year, they still have the best coach in that division, They still have the best quarterback in that division. They still have the best culture in that division. And when you have all three of those things line up together, you are probably going to win these what feel like 50-50 games against the Miami Dolphins. I'm a non-believer. I am not on board. Another team, Rob, that I'm a non-believer on is the Baltimore Orioles. I have seen enough Royals baseball. I don't need to watch any more Royals baseball in the regular season. I can already tell you how I want the remainder of these next, they got 13, 14 games left. I don't need to see any more. They're not winning the division. This is not me being negative. This is just me playing the math and the odds, and you guys know I try to side with that. They're not winning the division. I know that. You know that, and that's fine. They are 4.5 games back, and we have played way too many games for me to think that they are winning the division. They ain't winning the division. Now it is about the wild card and who you line up against. We have seen them play almost all of the competitive teams over the course of the last 30 days, have we not? That was the point of the Riptide. You played Minnesota. You played the Yankees. You played Houston. You played Cleveland. All of the teams that you thought you were going to see in October, we have seen. I don't need to see any more data points. I don't need to see any more information to tell you I know exactly who I want the Royals to play. I want the Royals to play the Orioles. If they're not going to win the division and they're not going to be the home team in these games, I have zero fear of going on the road and playing the Orioles. I don't think the Royals are going on the road and beating the Houston Astros. I don't believe that the Royals are going to Yankee Stadium and winning 2 out of 3. You know the team that I do feel very confident that they can go on the road and beat? I feel very confident in their ability to go on the road and beat the Baltimore Orioles. We were just talking about the Miami Dolphins, a team that you think was really good in the first half of the season but fades in the second half of the season. You want to know who the Baltimore Orioles remind me of? They remind me of last year's Philadelphia Eagles. Did you know that the Orioles, they were 17-9 in April, they were 17-9 in May, they were 17-12 in June. The Orioles were fantastic the first part of the season. They were 58-38 in the first half of the year. Did you know that they're 25-26 in the second half of the season? They have had a losing month in July, in August, and they are currently 500 in the month of September. I don't think that team is playing well. And if you're telling me in a very random 3-game series, it's not a 7-game series, it is a sprint to who can win 2 of these next 3 games. The Royals' arrow is trending upward. I don't think that's what's happening with the Baltimore Orioles. Sure, it's a 3-game series. You'll take your chances against anybody. If you get the Yankees, you got to go to Yankee Stadium and you got to figure it out. And you starting pitching-wise, you give yourself an opportunity. You give yourself an opportunity against Houston. But the same way in the NFL, we talk about the difference between being a Super Bowl team and a playoff contending team. I look at the Yankees and the Astros as a World Series team. I look at the Orioles as a team that's just going to make the postseason. The Royals match up really good against teams, and they've done so all season, against teams that we think are going to just make the playoffs. They have not matched up great against those other teams. If I could pick right now, I want to press the button, give me the Baltimore Orioles. The Royals will beat them.
I would think if you're a Royals fan, now you can't control it. You're not going to be like, hey, win this many games, you're going to get the Orioles. Like, you can't control what you can't control. But if you can get the Orioles, if you're a Royals fan, you got to feel a level of excitement in that wild card round. Because in the Riptide, I saw the Royals take on the Astros. It was really bad. It was a 4-game series in Houston, and not a single game in the series was Kansas City competitive. Now, I know Vinny got hurt in the first game, and morale, yada, yada, yada. 4 games in Houston, smoked every time. I don't want to see Houston. I actually think Houston's doing what Houston does every year. They're rounding into ALCS form.
100%.
So let's run and hide from that team. Also in the Riptide, so this is like a very recent thing. I saw the Royals play the Yankees. They played great in game 1. They were, fighting tooth and nail in game 3. Came up a little short. They lost the series, though. I saw the Yankees do a similar thing to the Royals in Kauffman. Couple close games the Yankees won. 1 game the Yankees dominated. The Royals did steal 1 at Kauffman Stadium. I think if the Royals played the Yankees in the playoffs, it might go all 3 games. but I feel like the Yankees get the better of the Royals. So I'm standing there right with you. Sign me up. Let's go to Baltimore. Let's see what that pitching can do against that offense. Let's see what a team that has disappointed their fan base, what their energy is. If you're an Oriole fan and you felt like, man, we are World Series bound back in April. Jeff Passan before the season said they're the undisputed best team in baseball. And now they're fighting for a wild card spot and they might be playing in the wild card round. Let's see how their fan base reacts. Let's see how they react if you steal a game. Yes, please. I want to play Baltimore. No, under no circumstances do I want Houston. Whatever it takes to avoid Houston. If you have to lose the entire Brave series in 2 weeks, cool. Don't play Houston.
You know that we love a good cross-sport comparison on this show. I'm going to give you one that I actually think is very complimentary towards one of your favorite teams. You know who Houston is? They're Kansas. They're the 3 seed with the pedigree. I don't want to see them in the NCAA tournament. They're not the 1 seed or the 2 seed this year, but it's Kansas. Let's just not play them. Let's wait to play them to the Elite 8. I don't want any parts. You know who the Orioles are? They're the 6 or the 7 seed that started out the year in the preseason top 10, but they were just okay in conference play. But you still got to put them in the NCAA tournament, and they're that 6-11 or that 7-10 matchup that you can't wait to ride against them in the first round of the NCAA tournament on your bracket. That's what the difference in these two teams are. I'm not saying it is impossible to beat the Houston Astros, but if I look at them over the last 7 years, and I look at what the Royals have been over the last 7 years, and I look at the series that these two teams just played a couple of weeks ago, I don't want nothing to do with that team. If you were telling me the Orioles, who last year were arguably the best team in the American League and completely squandered that opportunity, and now in the second half of the season they appear to be doing the exact same thing, I don't want any parts of them. The Yankees are on a different level. The Astros are on a different level. I wouldn't say that Cleveland is, but you're not going to play Cleveland in the first round. You got a chance to play Baltimore. You got a chance to either be hosting Baltimore or going to Baltimore. That is the Royals' best chance to make the postseason. Make the ALDS, because making the wild card is making the postseason. That is their best chance to make the ALDS. And then once you get in a best of 5, best of 7, the odds change a little bit. You can get Lugo to pitch twice in the series. You can get Reagans to pitch twice in the series. You really give yourself then a puncher's chance of winning that series. But if they got a 3-game set in Yankee Stadium or a 3-game set against the Astros, I think they could get swept.
You mentioned it there, and it's the top text on our text line. Guys, the Royals can still be the top wild card, and Baltimore could be coming to Kansas City. What does that mean? Maybe this is – I've been very positive with the Royals all year. It's the first time I've been negative about the team all season. I don't think the Royals are catching up. The Orioles have a 4.5-game lead, I believe, on the Royals. The Royals aren't making up 4.5 games in 15 games. They're just not. I know the Orioles are playing bad, and the Orioles are wounded, and the Orioles are bleeding, and the Orioles are the team you want in the first round. But the same way the Royals collapsing and falling out of the playoffs would be catastrophic and historic, it's near the same. There's 15 or 16 games left, depending on what team you are, off days, so on and so forth. To lose 4.5 games in that window would be pretty historical. So I think the Royals are kind of either going to be the 2 or the 3 in the wild card. And then it's just a matter of who you're matching up with. Now, maybe I'm going to look like an idiot for saying that, and the top texter will be right, and the Orioles keep taking on water, and the Royals do jump in the wild card, but 4.5 in 15 games, I'm not really entertaining at this notion.
You know how I know things are going really, really poorly for the Orioles? I want to play for you. This is audio. This is Dean Kramer. Is that how you pronounce his last name? Dean Kramer? Whenever your starting pitcher is talking like this in the final 3 weeks of the season, you guys got problems.
I wish that was my job to tell you, but that's not my job. My job is to go out there and pitch. That's a question for the higher ups, the guys who make the decisions of who plays, who doesn't play, and all that stuff. So I wish I could tell you, but I've got no answer for that.
Yeah, I'm telling you guys, when you start to have that conversation, when the question is, how can you guys pull together down the stretch? You guys got problems, man. You got legitimate, serious problems going on with the Baltimore Orioles. I'm telling you right now, if I could press the button, if I could spin the wheel, if I could 100% dictate who the Royals play in the first round of the postseason, it seems very, very obvious to me which team you would pick. You would take the Baltimore Orioles. The Royals are currently better than them. They are. they are better than they are. That matters in the postseason. I think they're better than them, and I think they also have the pitching advantage in that series. You will take that every single time. I want to play this audio cut for you guys. Danan Hughes was on Fesco in the Morning earlier today, and he was asked if this game feels and will play like a divisional game. Here's what Danan Hughes had to say.
Absolutely. I feel like this is the new rivalry. You think back to Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. They were not in the same division, and they still had that kind of heated rivalry. You add in some of the trash talk, and obviously the team that's had the most success against Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback that's had the most success against Patrick Mahomes outside of Tom Brady. Like, there's a lot of levels to this that make it more of a rivalry against a non-division opponent than maybe we've seen here in Kansas City in a long time. So, like, that's where we're at. The guys understand it. The organization understands it, and they'll be ready.
I think that plays what Danan just talked about. I think that plays a little bit better for Cincinnati in this than I think it plays for the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs aren't treating this like a division game. I think the Chiefs are treating this like the Chiefs are an organization that we know they listen and pay attention to what the other teams are saying about them. We got a chance to see a glimpse of that on the television show The Quarterback. Mahomes is talking to his friend, and he says, we match up better against Buffalo, but we want to play Cincinnati because of all the talking they've been doing. I don't think it takes much to get Patrick riled up. I don't think it takes much for him to communicate to his team about how he feels about this team. I think that part of what Danan talks about is a lot more important for Cincinnati in this game. They already know that they have a really, really tough division where you got Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cleveland. You just got a lot of tough, physical kind of teams. Cincinnati has already given up one of the games that you would consider to be their gimme game. This was a month where they were supposed to go at least 3-1. If you got New England, Washington, and Carolina in 3 of your first 4 games, you're supposed to get off to a hot start. They scored 10 points in that first game. They didn't really do a lot offensively in that game against the New England Patriots. Joe Burrow threw for less than 175 yards. Zach Moss, who's now their #1 running back, he ran for 44 yards in the game. Jamar Chase had 62 yards receiving. No one else on their team had more than 30 yards receiving on the team. This is an offense right now that if you were looking for as a defense, and the Chiefs have played well defensively over the last year and a half, this is the perfect time to be playing Cincinnati. This is an offense that still can't protect its quarterback. This is a quarterback who doesn't appear to be 100% healthy. This is a team that cannot run the football effectively, and a team right now that only has one proven offense. I would argue right now that Cincinnati's offense, they have fewer weapons than what the Chiefs had last year at this time. If you don't have a healthy T. Higgins and you no longer have Tyler Boyd as that legitimate #3 pass-catching option, this offense is bad. Tell me where the offense is going to come from. Jamar Chase and who? Based on what we've seen the Chiefs do defensively, there's no reason to think that Zach Moss is running all over this team. They got a Tanner Hudson, a Mike Gesicki, Chase Brown, Trenton Irwin. That's a bad football team. This defense has earned the respect that Cincinnati is not coming in here, and they're not throwing for 300 yards and scoring 27 points. This game is not going to be a shootout. I could see it being a blowout because of Kansas City, but if Kansas City plays a clean, mistake-free game, I just don't think Cincinnati is at a point right now where they should be able to keep up with Kansas City based on what we saw from these two teams last week. Kansas City looks like a team that, I don't want to say firing on all cylinders because you don't have everybody, but they're like an offense that can put up 30 points. I don't trust Cincinnati to put up 30 points right now. I just don't know with what weapons they're doing that up against with one of the 5 best defenses in the National Football League. Coming up on the other side, we'll be joined by John Kurtz. We're going to take a couple of minutes to learn more about the Wildcats as they get ready for their game against the Wildcats. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Hi, it's Derek Johnson, and I know there's nothing better than being part of a team. A group of great people you can count on and learn from. The Sheet Metalworkers, local number 2, are growing their team and looking for quality men and women who want to build Kansas City's future. While you're making KC a better place, you'll also get great pay and benefits while gaining lifelong skills. Explore the possibilities at sheetmetal2.org. That's sheetmetal2.org. And take a step towards a fulfilling and rewarding way of life.
You could be on the 50 at GEHA Field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Enter to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Touchdown or enter. Almost Andy Reid here. Guess what? I discovered a new passion, cheering on the greatest team with the greatest garage door company, Renner Garage Door. Forward and back, RENNER. They'll keep you on the championship track. RennerDoor.com.
NFL Week 2 is here, and you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. New to FanDuel, you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. You can build a quick same-game parlay for Thursday Night Football between the Bills and the Dolphins, like a Dalton Kincaid anytime touchdown, Josh Allen over passing yards, and Tyreek Hill over his receiving yards. Just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to make every moment more this season. FanDuel is an official sportsbook partner of the NFL and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
I can't wait to watch the Chiefs go up and down the field and score a ton of points this year. And now I have even more reason to cheer on the Chiefs. I just head to Hy-Vee the day after any game and score savings at the pump with my Hy-Vee Perks card. Win or lose, I earn fuel saver discounts equal to the Chiefs score based on the amount I spend. If the Chiefs score 42 points, I save 42 cents a gallon when I spend $42. The more we score, the more I save. Only at Hy-Vee. Offer good in-store and online. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Flu season is here. Get your flu shot today at your local Hy-Vee pharmacy. It's easy, convenient, and no appointment is necessary. Plus, when you get your flu shot at Hy-Vee, earn a 20-cent fuel saver. That's right, a 20-cent fuel saver. Get your flu shot when it's convenient for you. Schedule online or just stop by your Hy-Vee pharmacy. No appointment necessary. Help your family stay healthy. Get your flu shot and get a 20-cent fuel saver only at Hy-Vee. See store for details. Some restrictions apply.
It's better over here. If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has an exclusive rate plan just for you. Right now, get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings versus Verizon and AT&T. Plus, you can get one of the latest 5G phones free when you add a line. That's right, a free 5G phone. Experience all this and more on America's largest 5G network. So why wait? At T-Mobile, customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Just go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 or visit your local store to make the switch.
With AutoPay using debit or bank account plus taxes and fees, 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Free phones up to $300 off with 24 monthly bill credits and qualifying new line for well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Contact us before canceling entire account to continue remaining bill credits, and if you pay off device early. See details at T-Mobile.com.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hard-working partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights. Open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
Keep it twisted all year long with Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Twisted Tea is real iced tea that packs a punch with 5% alcohol. Tastes great at the beach, the mountains, or even in your backyard. Look for the bright yellow Twisted Tea cans.
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
This afternoon, expect partly sunny skies with a high of 87.
Weather brought to you by Staples. Your local Staples store has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. Save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
Let's take a trip out to Manhattan, Kansas to be joined by John Kurtz. He covers the Wildcats. John, how are you doing today, my man? I would like to tell you that we tried to get a K-State player on the show this week. We could not get one, so we called you instead.
Well, you know, it's a short week for them. They've got a lot going on, so I'm happy to take one for the team and do my part for Chris Kleiman and the boys to help K-State get a win on Friday.
I can't believe that Avery Johnson is too busy to come on this show. If I was Pat McAfee, he would make time for me. If I was Dan Patrick, he would make time for me.
Well, the problem is
I'm not.
They're apparently well, I wasn't even going there. I was going to say they're adopting the your Mizzou Tiger strategy of just, you know, we'll hoard the good players. We're not going to give you the good players. We'll let you talk to everybody else.
Well, they did tell us that we will get Avery Johnson if they win this weekend, so I'm pulling for them so we can talk to Avery Johnson for the first time this season. All right, Kurtz, let's start with this question here, man. When was the last time, or I guess this is the biggest K-State non-conference game in Manhattan since when?
Yeah, it's actually a pretty easy answer because it's the first top 20 matchup at Bill Snyder Family Stadium. So the first time both teams have been ranked in the top 20 since the 2014 Auburn game. And I think that really is a good comp and a good jumping off point there because that game was on a Thursday night. It was one that got a lot of hype during the offseason because that was the year after Auburn had played for the national championship when they lost to Jamison, Florida State. So they were red hot, and everybody really was looking forward to that game. And it was an incredible atmosphere. I think like Snyder 2.0 and on, that definitely challenges for the best atmosphere that we've seen for a K-State game. And of all things, if not for a Tyler Lockett drop in the end zone that turned into an interception, K-State would have won that game. But this is very similar, right? Arizona had a great season last year, won 10 games, beat Oklahoma in their bowl game. They actually have the longest winning streak in college football right now. They've won 9 straight games. So they're coming in with a lot of hype, and K-State fans on a Friday night on Fox with the nation watching should do a pretty good TV number. And it's during a week where there's just not a lot of great games on paper. So I think it draws more attention probably because of that than it would if it were a little bit more lost in the shuffle. So I think the stage is set for a really awesome atmosphere tomorrow.
I saw some people kind of poking at K-State because this game was close against Tulane in the fourth quarter. I think that's disrespectful to Tulane and what they've been able to accomplish over the last couple of years. I thought it was a good, hard-fought win for K-State. What was your biggest takeaway from K-State on Saturday in New Orleans?
Yeah, I mean, it's good to get out of there with a win. I think a bunch of different things are true here. It's very good for them to get out with a win and be tested and pushed like that early in the year. It is also a fact that the defense was pretty dreadful, and giving up 342 passing yards to a redshirt freshman quarterback is concerning. The part with that's interesting is that the guys were completely wide open, like high school wide open. Mario Williams, former 5-star recruits, like running with nobody within 10 yards of him. And that's because they were coverage busts in zone. I mean, it's not like they were just getting beaten in man. Phil Steele ranked that as the best secondary in the Big 12. They were just making mental mistakes. So they're pretty old veteran guys back there. So that was perplexing and definitely concerning, but at least it feels more fixable than like, hey, you just don't have the dudes and they're getting beaten one-on-one on the outside. But yes, the other thing that is true is that Tulane has won 23 games the last 2 years, and there are smart people in college football who think they may be actually upgraded at head coach. Not that Willie Fritz is not a great head coach, because he is, but John Summerall, who had been at Troy and had won a ton of games at Troy, a lot of people think very, very highly of him as well. So that's a good Tulane program that has a lot of really good players on the roster that are high-profile transfers. So I think a lot of reason to believe that that's going to be a win that looks better at the end of the year than it probably does to some people right now.
I thought Chris Kleiman gave one of the best answers that I've heard him give when he talked about the offense and getting Dylan Edwards involved, and just mentioned that they just haven't run a lot of plays over the first 2 games of the season. You're going to need to really score to keep up with Arizona. They got one of the better quarterback wide receiver combinations in the country. Do you think this offense is ready to win a 45-41 shootout against Arizona?
It's a good question. I had somebody kind of frame the question to me earlier this week, like if somebody takes away the run game, which is obviously the strength of this offense, is K-State and Avery Johnson, more importantly, good enough right now to throw them to a win? And I thought, well, it's a fair question because he has been really inconsistent. He's made some spectacular throws. He had a handful of them in the Tulane game, particularly the first touchdown pass that he threw, but then he also missed a couple of wide open balls down the field that one would have been a touchdown for sure to Sterling Lockett. Another one to Jaden Jackson would have been a big gain. So he's just more raw and needs some reining in. I think especially throwing from the pocket, like he's been so much better on the run. When you get him out making plays on the run, he's really better almost off platform than he is in the pocket right now. So they probably need to get more creative. I would say that, yes, it's a great point. They have not had a chance to run many plays. The ones on offense only ran basically 40 plays in week 1 against UT Martin, and then they were still under 60 last week against Tulane. And part of that is because they're feast or famine right now. They're either going 3 and out or they're scoring. And so there haven't been many long sustained drives in there. But I do think they've probably also been holding back. You haven't seen a lot of design quarterback run with Avery Johnson yet. And I think that is something that once they incorporate more of it, you obviously don't want to do too much. But in a game like this, if it is going to be one of those shootouts and you need to keep scoring, I think you will probably see more of that. And in the second half of the Tulane game, I thought we actually did see a lot of really good things out of the offense. And so if they can just avoid the slow start, I mean, I'm certainly confident that the offense is going to come around. There are pieces there. Obviously, Avery Johnson has displayed the talent that he has, even if he's not as consistent as maybe some would have hoped at this point of the year. So very fair to raise it as a question. Can they do that? And that's why I think the game is going to come down to K-State's defense. To me, the bigger question mark is the defense. I knew the offense was going to take some time with a new OC, a new offensive line, a new starting quarterback to get in sync. But you felt like this defense could be one of the best in the league, and they'd have to lean on them. I think it's going to come down to how much they can limit and neutralize Tetaroa McMillan.
That is our guy, John Kurtz, joining us on the show today, taking a couple minutes to talk about what I think could be the best game of the weekend. This is not a great slate in college football. This is the game that would have been up for College Game Day if this game had been played on a Saturday, but it is on a Friday, so you have to watch it on Fox coming up tomorrow. Kurtz, I appreciate you.
No love for Mizzou, Boston College? Best game of the week?
I actually think this game's better than Missouri, Boston College.
Well, I think Trayshawn Ward's going to run all over your Tigers, so we'll see.
All right, bye, Kurtz. I'm not. Why was that? We have Kurtz on. We show Kurtz love, and now he's going to throw a rock? He's going to throw a stone at the Tigers? That was uncalled for. Nothing but compliments for K-State. Nothing. I think this is the best game of the weekend. I don't think this is a great weekend slate. I think you got 2 fun offenses. It's going to be a great environment. It's Friday night under the lights. I think this is the best game of the weekend. Alabama, Wisconsin would maybe be good if it was 2013. I'm not really sure how good it's going to be in this one. You know it's bad when Tulane, Oklahoma is one of the better games of the weekend. I'm not really sure how good LSU and South Carolina is going to be. There's not a great game at night this week. The best night game is Georgia, Kentucky. This is you can miss this weekend of college football. You watch tomorrow, you're going to have K-State, KU play at the same time. Missouri plays in that early window, but tomorrow night, you can go take your lady to go out to a nice dinner. Take her to Paropos or something. You don't got to sit and watch college football all day on Saturday. It's not great.
I mean, it does sting for K-State because I agree with you. I think it would have gotten game day if it hadn't been set to Fox Friday night. And I get why Fox and I get why K-State and all the powers that be wanted the standalone. We're on Fox Friday night under the big lights. I get it. But, man, if you had turned down the Friday night, you're probably the marquee game on Fox or on ESPN on Saturday night with game day. I mean, it's a good problem to have, but this is the best game of the weekend. I'm not going to throw shade at Boston College, Missouri. I think Missouri's going to just wash Boston College. This game will be competitive the entire way.
Coming up at the top of the hour, Rob and I have a draft, but a different kind of draft. I'll explain the rules to you next. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison. on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Kansas football fans, picture this. You bet on your favorite player to score the first touchdown, and he throws an awesome block so his teammate can score instead. If this happens, MGM wants to give you another chance at the end zone. With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first touchdown scorer scores second instead. That's right. Bet on any pro football player to score the first touchdown of the game. If you're right, you win. If your player scores second, you get your stake back in cash. Everyone knows the most exciting part of football is the score. With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you have a chance to keep the fun going after the first player crosses the goal line. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only, Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Hey folks, I've got a couple of important questions for you. Do you know how much money you need to retire? Do you have a plan in place for your loved ones? If your answer is no, it's time to get your financial planning on track with UMB Private Wealth. It's never too late to start. Plus, their team supports you at every step of the planning process. Go to umb.com/privatewealth to schedule your appointment. That's umb.com/privatewealth. Why not start today?
Danan Hughes here to talk about low T. Low testosterone causes a host of problems. These include low sex drive, bad sleep patterns, unproductive workouts, decreased energy, brain fog, and more. If you're feeling like this, it's time for you to treat that low T and change your life. Heartland Men's Health are experts in treating low testosterone and other men's sexual health conditions. They've successfully treated many men for low T, and men have seen the amazing difference that those treatments can make in their life. Within just a few weeks, you'll feel your energy return, the brain fog will go away, your sleep will improve, as will your workout, and your sex drive will be significantly enhanced as well. Contact Heartland Men's Health today. They have 3 locations to serve you: Overland Park, Kansas, Independence, Missouri, between Blue Springs and Lee Summit, and their new office in North Kansas City. Contact them today at 844-447-6600 or visit heartlandmenshealth.com.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Mitchell Schwartz. You know, there's nothing easier to enjoy than watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings located at 152 Highway and North Flintlock Road in KC-Mo on Thursday, September 12th. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. For more details, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Week 2 is here, and you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. New to FanDuel? Well, you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 wager. So create a same-game parlay for Thursday Night Football. You know what? I'm going to take the Bills to go on the road and win this game. I'm going to take a rushing touchdown from Josh Allen, an anytime touchdown. I'm also going to take the over on Tyreek Hill receiving yards. You know, he always shows out in these primetime games. You can place that parlay or make your own. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com, use my promo code CDOT to make every moment more this season. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 deposit required. Bonus issued as non withdrawable bonus bets. Expires 7 days after street restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem. Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights. Open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
Guess what, people? Wendy's has new saucy nugs. You heard me. Wendy's nugs now come in 7 saucy flavors. Buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, spicy ghost pepper. You can literally hear your taste buds after every bite. I'm serious. Listen to mine. Okay, that's just me playing with sound effects, but you got the idea. For a whole new way to nug, gotta be Wendy's.
participating U.S. Wendy's.
Is your vehicle stopping like it should? Does it squeal or grind when you brake? Don't miss out on summer brake deals at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
96.5 The Fan and Kansas Lottery are partnering to give you a chance to win big with Kansas Lottery's Chiefs World Champion Instant Ticket. Go to 965thefan.com for your chance to register to win a $30 prize pack and the $100,000 grand prize pack. It's all brought to you by 96.5 The Fan and Kansas Lottery.
What's up? It's Patrick Mahomes. Catch me every Monday during the season with CDOT right here on your home of the Chiefs. 96.5 The Fan.
KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
All right, Rob and I are going to do a little bit of a different kind of draft today. The Chiefs this weekend, they play Jamar Chase. They play one of the better wide receivers in the National Football League. We are going to try to create our perfect wide receiver. The only rule is, so there are 5 categories. I guess there's 2 rules. There's 5 categories: route running, hands, speed, durability, and jump ball. If Rob takes Tyreek Hill's speed, Tyreek Hill, any other attributes are off the board. So he can't have Tyreek Hill's speed and then I have Tyreek Hill route running. No. Once a wide receiver's attribute is taken, they are off the board. That is it. You can't use them again. So there are 5 categories here: route running, hands, speed, durability, and jump ball. We will try to see if we can create the perfect wide receiver. Rob has said that I can go first in this draft. I don't know why he would give me the advantage. Maybe it's because he thinks since we're not doing running backs, he knows what he's talking about. You guys hear him talk every day on this show. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Hit me with some music. This is easy. With the number 1 overall pick, I'm going to take the speed of Tyreek Hill. That's by far and away. That might be the best trait of any player in the National Football League from a physical perspective. Yeah, this is easy. See, give me Tyreek Hill's speed. You know what? You could give me Sky Moore's hands with Tyreek Hill's speed. I'll figure out a way to make it work. We're just running jet sweeps, baby. We're running end arounds. We're running screen plays, baby. Speed, Tyreek Hill off the board, number 1.
I mean, there's a lot of fast wideouts in the league.
There ain't nobody like him.
There's a lot of fast wideouts in the league. You know what the key to being a great wideout in the league is? Route running. I'll be taking Cooper Kupp route running with the first overall pick. Correct me if I'm wrong, that's a Super Bowl MVP route runner out there.
No, it just made me laugh. It was funny to me. That's the number 1? Okay, all right. All right, so we're doing
wrong. Route running, valuable.
No, you're perfectly fine. So right now we are creating our perfect wide receiver. We're doing a draft. Route running, hands, speed, durability, and jump ball. Once you take that player attribute, if that player is off the board. I have the speed of Tyreek Hill. This is easy. 1-on-1, jump ball. Give me Jamar Chase. You're going to give me, I can run past you with Tyreek Hill. And on a 50-50 ball, it's not a 50-50 ball. I'm going to come down with it 70% of the time. I'm taking jump ball, Jamar Chase.
That's a really good pick. I'm not even going to lie to you.
I can't believe you gave me the number 1 overall pick.
It's a great pick.
I might create the greatest player ever seen.
I'm going to stick jump ball. Now, when I hear jump ball, I think contest. Now, I'm going to wait on that. You know what? You're scrambling on the 4th pick,
I was literally
on the brink.
You're scrambling on the 4th pick?
I was on the brink of taking Jamar Chase hands, but screw it.
Wow.
I'll take the hands of Justin Jefferson.
I was going to go Justin Jefferson route running next. I was going to take him. All right, you got JJ.
Screwed me.
No, you got JJ.
Different LSU player, still great.
That's perfectly fine. I get it. All right, I actually feel really good here. Route running. I'm going to take Devontae Adams. I'm going to take the route running of Davante Adams to create the perfect wide receiver. So right now I have Tyreek Hill's speed. I have the jump ball ability of Jamar Chase, and route running, I have Davante Adams. I feel very good about the team I have created so far. What do you have, Rob? Update the people and then make your next selection.
I have only made 2 picks, but my 2 picks I feel pretty good about. I have the route running of Cooper Kupp, and I have the hands of Justin Jefferson. I will next take the speed of Xavier Worthy, who, by the way, is the fastest wide receiver in the NFL.
Okay, let's calm down.
Don't they measure this at the Combine in Indianapolis?
Yeah.
Isn't that why they do that? Isn't that why people like Bink and Uno Cero on character concerns get all hot and bothered? They run in a straight line? No one's done it faster or better than Xavier Worthy. Okay. Who cares that he's 112 pounds soaking wet? The question was speed.
What's his nickname? Does he have one?
X.
So he Twitter. That's what you just called him.
You know what he's going to do? Give it to you, because X going to give it to you.
Just imagine how fast you got to be for people to call you the cheetah, and no one questions that they call you the cheetah. It's not like when you call him cheetah, like, I don't know. No, we know. Someone made a good point. We should give you the snake draft. You know what? Since I have had the 3rd and the 4th pick or whatever it is, I'll give you these next 2 picks. I apologize for snaking you. Thank you, text line, for pointing that out. I will give you the first pick on the next 2 remaining, so go ahead and take your pick.
Contested catch, George Pickens. We're calling it jump ball, but all the numbers, 33rd team, NFL Analytics, PFF, you pick your advanced metric, you pick your nerd core stats. You know what they say? George Pickens is great when he's one-on-one. George Pickens probably should have been a Kansas City Chief, but you know what? We got Sky Moore instead. That's better. A lot of people are saying Sky Moore is better. George Pickens is my contested catch jump ball guy.
Well, I'm telling you, then your wide receiver is going to have an issue in week 4 because he's not going to be getting the ball enough. We already know him.
Hold on, I will be feeding this guy the rock.
That's fair.
If we're going to say we get the personality, you're taking a guy who was arrested last week in the top overall pick.
Tyreek Hill plays better when there's controversy around him. Think about it. Whenever we think that Tyreek Hill is doing something wrong off the field, that's when he's the best. That's when I'm getting the best version of Tyreek Hill. This one, you know what? I'm going to go a little bit off the board here with durability. I'm going to take Mike Evans. I'm going to take Mike Evans' durability, who is not a Hall of Famer, by the way. Let me at least go ahead and make that point very clear about Mike Evans.
Disagreed.
Mike Evans been doing this for a long time, man. He's been doing this at a high level for a long time, and you know that Mike Evans is going to play almost each and every week. He got in the league in 2014, and he's still one of the top receivers in 2023. It's at the point now that players he used to play with, they're on television and podcasters, and he's still balling out. So durability, it's very, very clear to me. It's Mike Evans. Mike Evans has the best durability of any wide receiver in the league. I'm taking him.
With my final pick, I'm also on durability, and I'm taking the durability of Amari Cooper. Now, he's not Mike Evans. He's not the Iron Man, but only twice in his NFL career has he come up short.
Amari Cooper for durability?
Amari Cooper durability. He's a standard in the league, 15, 16, 17 games, year in, year out. The only time he didn't, he got traded.
Okay.
Also, Mike Evans is a Hall of Famer. Good job getting a Hall of Famer.
I'm taking Amon-Ra St. Brown for hands.
That's a good pick.
Taking Amon-Ra. I was thinking about going Amon-Ra for route running too, because I think he's an absolute dog in that category too. But you know what? Just to round things out for hands, I'm going to take Amon-Ra St. Brown. So let me let you know what I have. This is my perfect wide receiver. You guys text in 913-586-7965. You also can comment on Twitch or YouTube or wherever you're watching this at and let us know who you think has the better wide receiver. For route running, I have Davante Adams. For hands, I have Amon-Ra St. Brown. For speed, I have Tyreek Hill. Durability, Mike Evans. Jump ball, contested catch, however you want to call it, I got Jamar Chase. You cannot duplicate picks. Rob, let people know who you have. Who's your perfect wide receiver?
I have the route running of Cooper Kupp. I have the hands of Justin Jefferson. I have the speed of Xavier Worthy, the durability of Amari Cooper, and the jump ball, contested catch, whatever you want to call it, of should-have-been Chief George Pickens.
Someone on the text line says, C-Dot, you guys should redo this draft, but now try to take the worst possible wide receiver. Oh, he just got picked up by the Browns. Kadarius Toney. Terrible at durability, terrible at hands, terrible at contested catch. I've already seen the worst wide receiver in the league.
But hold on, he's an elite SoundCloud rapper.
No, he is not an elite SoundCloud rapper. He doesn't have a perfect timing.
You know what he's great at? Instagram. That's where he thrives. Instagram during Super Bowl week.
When I think about it, Kadarius Toney made Darren Waller sound like Nas. Now that I go back and I really think about it, just an absolute embarrassing time. That's what it was, an embarrassing time in Chiefs history. Someone said, I can't believe no one used CD for anything. Which one of these categories do you think CeeDee Lamb is the best at? And I like CeeDee Lamb. I think this exercise really goes to show you how deep this position is. Like, you could have taken CeeDee Lamb, but then you're leaving off Amon-Ra St. Brown. You're leaving off Mike Evans. That just really goes to show you how this is the deepest position in the National Football League. Now, it makes sense. There's more wide receivers on the team than other positions, but the top-level wide receivers, there's about 25 or 30 of these that are really good. Like, I'm not sure if Rashee Rice is the top 20 wide receiver in the National Football League. Guy might have 1,100 yards receiving this year. That's just kind of how this position goes. All right, coming up on the other side, we'll get to week 2 of the NFL season, and I want you guys to hear what various media members are starting to say about Joe Burrow, because I'm telling you, it feels like the seat is getting hot, hot, hot. I'll explain. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Brought to you by Blue KC is the Coaches with Character program. Do you know a rock star high school coach in your district? Nominate them for the Blue KC Coaches with Character program at bluekc.com/nominate coaches with character. Let's make our coaches feel special and make our community a better place to live, work, and play.
What's up, everybody? Nick Costos here with the Sports Betting Minute, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Please gamble responsibly. Week 2 of pro football tonight, Thursday Night Football in Miami. Miami a 2.5-point home favorite against Buffalo. Total in the game sitting at 49. I think Buffalo's going to try to take the air out of the football, run the ball a lot against the Miami defense that gave up nearly 5 yards per carry in week 1 to Jacksonville. So I like the under in this game. I would lean under 49. The bet that I really like, though, Buffalo starting running back. His rushing yards prop tonight sitting at 60.5. I think he goes way over that number. So again, tonight give me Buffalo starting running back over 60.5 yards. That's it for this Sports Betting Minute, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Download the BetMGM app today. Please gamble responsibly.
BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Did you know that you can now use your own body's healing properties to revitalize your achy joints and get you real lasting pain relief? Hey, it's Bob Fesco. And if you're waking up this morning and your knees hurt or your back hurts, I've got the solution for you. It's advanced regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. So if you're tired of that arthritic pain in your knees, hips, back, or shoulder, this is something you need to check out. Everybody's talking about regenerative medicine, and the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics are experts in these amazing treatments. People here are raving about the results. You can enhance your joints, improve mobility, and get back to doing the stuff you love without pain, without drugs or surgery or downtime. They've got tens of thousands of satisfied patients, and the consultation is totally free. So call now, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. 816-412-6299.
I'm ready for more NFL, and FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is continuing its special offer to keep us watching more. Now, through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then, with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to download America's #1 sportsbook. 21 and present in Kansas. Full price of NFL Sunday Ticket will be automatically charged seasonally after free trial. No refunds, terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
You've been waiting, and now is the time. Golden Oak Lending has fixed mortgage rates at 4.875%. But don't wait, this rate won't last forever. Call today and take advantage of our low 4.875 fixed rate. Call 913-890-GOLD. That's 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing, cured my blues.
5.784 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Hey, it's Bob Fesco, and I'm here with Ryan Manning of Manning Roofing. We all know when a storm comes through, there may be a knock at your door with somebody trying to repair your roof.
Inexperienced guys will be out and getting homeowners to open up claims. A lot of the times they don't show up for those adjustments. Photo takers might not document everything, and when the file examiner takes a look at it, it ends up in a denied claim or a partial. Give us a call. We'll go from there.
Do what we did and set up your appointment today at manninggc.com or 816-448-8208. The choice is simple. It's Manning Roofing.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
This is the story of the one. As a warehouse manager, her job is to transform chaos into clarity and to see patterns where others see problems. Luckily, she's got a partner who shares her perspective. Grainger offers over 1 million industrial-grade products, backed by real-person support and in-depth online resources, so she can tackle every task with precision and turn potential setbacks into streamlined success. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Mitchell Schwartz. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings located at 152 Highway and North Flintlock Road in KC-Mo on Thursday, September 12th. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs. Enjoy responsibly. For more details, go to 965thefan.com.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Lenexa southbound 35 before 435. Roadwork has the right. 2 lanes closed. Your backup is to 95th. DeSoto eastbound K10 past Kale Creek Road. The bridge work has the right lane closed. I'm Bill Brooks with 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's Nick Bolton, MIZ. Welcome to The Drive with C-Dot on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Welcome back into The Drive on 96.5 The Fan. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very happy to be here with you on this wonderful Thursday. Let's get back to talking football. Let's get back to talking Chiefs and Bengals. This is the first week that I can remember that it appears that the heat has turned up a little bit on Joe Burrow. Let me play a couple different audio pieces for you guys. So this first one is from Chris Canty. He does mornings now at ESPN Radio. He said that he is selling Joe Burrow's stock. Listen to what he had to say.
Because this wrist injury is something that we don't have a lot of history with quarterbacks being able to bounce back from in the NFL. We just haven't seen it. So I am not going to believe it until I see it. And that's why sitting here today, I'm selling all the Bengals stock and I'm selling all my Joe Burrow stock.
All of it?
All of it.
Not keeping a couple of shares?
I'm not hedging. I'm telling you, man, it's just something feels different about this slow start that the Bengals are getting out to as opposed to the slow starts that we've seen in the past. Now, I get it. Joe Burrow in his career is 1-8 through the first 2 games of the season.
That's just not okay, though.
That's not good.
I'm done accepting that. I got to be honest.
But that's what it is. That's what's happened.
Yeah.
The thing that makes this one a little bit different, though, is that he practiced all throughout training camp. So you practiced all throughout training camp. You had your full complement of weapons available to you, and that's the best you got? That's the best you could do against the Cincinnati Bengals? 10 points at home?
I think that Aaron Rodgers would be the number one story in the NFL this week, but the Bengals lost at home to the Patriots. I think that Kirk Cousins and the Atlanta Falcons would be the number one story in the NFL for how they played against a team that didn't score a touchdown in the Pittsburgh Steelers, but the Cincinnati Bengals lost at home to the New England Patriots. Maybe we are all wrong about the New England Patriots, and the Patriots turn out to be a 7-win team or a 9-win team. Defense is a little bit more stingy than we thought it was going to be. Maybe they end up getting a boost from having a different quarterback. Maybe we were off on the Patriots. Or that's one of the worst losses that you can acquire in the National Football League. I don't think the Patriots are a good team. I don't think the Patriots played very well on Sunday. They just played better than Cincinnati. It is hard to really explain offensively how bad Cincinnati was for a team that we believed had a fully healthy quarterback. They didn't do anything offensively on Sunday against New England. Jamar Chase had 62 yards receiving. They didn't have another player who had 50 yards receiving. Zach Moss had 44 yards. Some guy named Andre how you pronounce this gentleman's last name? Their number 2 wide receiver. I never heard of the man before, and I watch a lot of college football. I don't know that man. Sorry to that man. He had 3 catches for 26 yards. They had a Tanner Hudson with 2 catches for 18 yards. Again, who are these players? Aside from Jamar Chase, they have a New England Patriots level offensive room. And New England played better than them offensively. Ramondre Stevenson had 25 carries for 120 yards. So let me get this straight. I tell you guys all the time, football is a simple equation. Cincinnati couldn't run the ball. They ran it 16 times for 70 carries. Their running back had 9 carries for 44 yards, so they didn't run it well. They didn't stop the run. They didn't protect their quarterback. They also didn't get to the other team's quarterback. And, they lost a turnover differential. That's how you lose. I don't care who you are or who you are playing. If that's the combination of things that come together for you in one Sunday, you are losing that football game to another NFL team, and that is exactly what happened. Cincinnati was bad on Sunday. And now you're going up against a defense that we expect to be a top 5 defense in the league, a top 10 defense in the league, a team that can get after your quarterback, a team that's got good corners, a team that's going to bring pressure. You got to play way better offensively, and that starts with your quarterback. That starts with your quarterback being healthy. That starts with your quarterback being able to generate some offense for you guys, and they couldn't do it. I mean, almost every area of a game, they got beat. Yards per play, time of possession, 4th down efficiency, 3rd down, however you measure how teams win in the National Football League, Cincinnati didn't do it on Sunday against the Patriots. That's how they lost. Against a bad Patriots team. So that's one former NFL player, Chris Canty. Shout out to him on ESPN Radio. I'm going to play for you James Jones. James Jones is on Fox Sports 1. I know a couple people on Fox Sports 1. Check out Breakfast Ball and check out First Things First. James Jones, also not high on Joe Burrow, not high on the Cincinnati Bengals.
We got to start keeping it real for Joe Burrow. If Lamar Jackson throw that ball and his toe ain't out, it's a lot of ifs. If Jalen Hurts look down the middle of the field and read cover 2 and don't throw it and it ain't, it's a lot of ifs, but them dudes take a lot of heat. Joe Burrow has not been good, man, the last 2 years. And starting off this season, he ain't been good. He was 5-5 last year and then went out with an injury, all right? Then they went 4-3 without Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow without top elite wide receivers is average. Ooh. He is, but we keep for real though. But we keep living on the Super Bowl appearance, but we don't live on other stuff for other quarterbacks. Joe Burrow's not playing good football right now. He ain't.
That was James Jones on Fox Sports 1 earlier today, talking about Cincinnati and talking about Joe Burrow. once you get paid, the clock starts ticking. And if there is any sport that is a what have you done for me lately kind of league, it is the National Football League. Just 2 years ago, Joe Burrow and Cincinnati were the best team in the AFC. Joe Burrow goes on the road and beats Patrick Mahomes in the AFC Championship game. He's 5-1 in postseason games. There was a lot of things to like about Cincinnati. They have not been good since then. He has not been healthy since then. It has been a never-ending cycle of either he is hurt or recovering from an injury. When was the last time that you saw Joe Burrow be that guy? And I say this as someone who likes Joe Burrow. I'm a fan. I feel like I'm one of his biggest defenders on this show. But I got to be honest. When was the last time that Joe Burrow was that guy? Because I've seen Josh Allen be that guy. I've seen Patrick Mahomes be that guy. C.J. Stroud looks like he's that guy. When was the last time that you came away very impressed by Joe Burrow and really felt like he was playing at a level worthy of being in that conversation with the top QBs in the league? It's been some time. I got to be honest about Burrow. And I like Burrow. I think when he is healthy, he is the second best quarterback in the National Football League. We do have to start asking the question, though, of when is he healthy? And it's one game, so I don't want to overreact. I'm not Chris Canty. I'm not selling all of my Joe Burrow stock. But if it's been 18 months since the last time that you look like a top 5 quarterback or been that elite guy, you're going to start having some questions that are directed, especially when the AFC is evolving. Kansas City has evolved over the course of the last couple of years. Buffalo looks to be a different team. Houston is a different team. Watching Indianapolis, they look like they have a great quarterback situation. The AFC is different. My biggest issue with Cincinnati right now is whatever issues you thought the Bengals had in 2021 or 2022, they had those exact same issues on Sunday against the New England Patriots. Offensive line, still a problem. Can't run the football, still a problem. Poorly coached, not starting off the season effectively. Whatever ailed the Bengals in 2021 and 2022, it is still their number one problems today. That's not good. That's a reflection of the front office. That's a reflection of the coaching staff. That is a reflection of what you guys have been doing in the offseason. Something does feel a little bit off or broken. And if there is a team that we give the benefit of the doubt for a rough start, it's them, and they've earned it based on them going to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago and them climbing themselves out of a hole. But, man, eventually, if you keep playing with fire, you eventually get burned. You can't keep starting the season off 1-3, 2-5, and thinking that you're just going to get hot the second half of the season, man. That is the Bengals' biggest problem every single year. Nothing has changed about it.
And for me, and I haven't looked at the text line, but I assume the following take is on the text line. Burrow's just a product of good wide receivers. Look at him at LSU. Look at him in Cincinnati. I know the anti-Burrow take without looking at the text line. But to me, what's happening with Burrow is not just, the talent's diminishing around him and he's fading. There are massive injury concerns, and the numbers don't lie. You said it yesterday. In 2021, he was throwing for 8 yards an attempt. He was going downfield. Now, some of that's, you throw a screen pass, Jamar Chase takes off, it affects the calculus a little bit. But think of that AFC title game where he beat the Chiefs. He was making plays down the field. Think of that time he beat the Chiefs in Cincinnati that first time. He was making plays down the field. The number now has dropped, 2 yards? It's in the 5s, upper 5s, low 6s?
That's a drastic difference.
That's a massive change. That is not just because T. Higgins has been a little bit MIA. That's not just because Jamar Chase has contractitis. That's not the fact that C.J. Uzomah or Hayden Hurst aren't his tight ends anymore. That number is concerning. And I try not to overvalue the water bottle squeezing thing that he was doing, but the wrist is affecting him in some form or fashion. The injury buildup on his body is affecting him in some form or fashion, and you're seeing it. Maybe he'll go down as one of the greatest what-if cases of all time, because when he was healthy, he was absolutely that guy. And as an NFL fan, I want him healthy again, and I want him to be that guy. He is maybe the best college football player we ever saw play in a single season. Just incredible. But he's not that player anymore. He's a broken version of himself. He's throwing dinks and dunks. He's exactly what fans hated about Alex Smith. That's who Joe Burrow is right now.
just to give you guys sort of an understanding when we talk about yards per attempt and how important it is and how I think it's a really good metric of who some of the better quarterbacks are in the National Football League. So a couple of years ago, Joe Burrow was near the top. He was 11th in the NFL at yards per attempt, and some of that is just guys that qualify. It was 7.4. It's pretty good for yards per attempt. If you take what he was last season in yards per attempt, these were the guys who you were around. Kenny Pickett, Jeff Driscoll, Sam Howell, Andy Dalton, Tommy DeVito, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones. That's a drastic difference from where he was. I mean, last week, his yards per attempt, it was 5.7 last week. 5.7 is bad. You cannot win like that in the National Football League. I know that defenses have changed and defenses have caught up in some aspect. You're not winning if your quarterback is averaging 5.7 yards per attempt. That's what Daniel Jones did last year. That's what Brian Hoyer did last year. That's what Bryce Young was last season. That's not how you're winning consistently in the National Football League. They're going to have to incorporate some kind of explosiveness in their offense. You're not beating a defense like Kansas City's and a scheme like Kansas City's with the way that he played last week. So that team needs to get back to running the football effectively and taking some of the pressure off of Joe Burrow because they did not run the football effectively, and you just need some explosiveness in your offense, and they had no explosiveness last week against the New England Patriots. All right, let's go through some of the Sunday storylines for Week 2 of the NFL season. We officially start Week 2 later today. We got Bills and Dolphins. We'll get to that game coming up in just a bit. But, Rob, let's go through some of the top storylines for Sunday as we get ready for another week in the NFL.
Carrington, let's start with quarterbacks, which are always the biggest thing in the National Football League. Let's start with the veterans. We'll start here on Sunday storylines. You mentioned it there, talking about the Bengals. What would have been the biggest story in the league this week is either Aaron Rodgers or Kirk Cousins, two quarterbacks that were coming off of injuries that are aging. The Jets play the Titans, and the Falcons, they play the Eagles this week. Which veteran quarterback is more likely to bounce back, as they are both 0-1 and are coming off major injury?
I mean, I think you have to take the Jets just because of the quality of opponent. I mean, Tennessee lost to a team with their quarterback. They didn't score an offensive touchdown. He threw for less than 100 yards. Tennessee lost to that team. Tennessee might be bad. I mean, like bottom 5 team in the league bad. So I think you have to take them. New York, not playing San Francisco in that defense. You get to play Tennessee's defense. I mean, the Falcons might be in serious trouble. You lost week 1 at home to the Pittsburgh Steelers. You now have Kirk Cousins on the road, national TV. That's a sentence and a phrase you don't want anything to do with. We've seen what that phrase means over the course of his career. That phrase means interceptions. That phrase means mistakes. That phrase means you are not going on the road and beating one of the better teams in the NFC. And then next week, oh yeah, Kansas City comes to town. This Atlanta team could be staring down an 0-3, 0-4 start before we start to drink pumpkin spice lattes. It could get bad for Atlanta. The same way I say if you're Cincinnati, you don't want to be in a situation where you need to go on the road and win in Kansas City. You don't want to be in a position where Kirk Cousins needs to go on the road on Monday Night Football outdoors and play well. That usually it goes very, very poorly for you.
We'll stay with quarterbacks before we talk about a little team stuff. Carrington, we didn't really talk about it, but most every rookie was bad this week. At least the rookie quarterbacks. Jaden Daniels didn't throw basically at all, and Caleb Williams, I know the Bears won, but he might as well have not been throwing at all.
He threw for 93 yards.
He threw for under 100 yards in 2024.
That's not good.
These were the 1 and 2 picks in the draft, and when picks go 1 and 2, they're held to a higher scrutiny. Do you think the rookie quarterbacks get some hype and buzz back in week 2, or are we looking at a bad crop?
Yeah, I think last week was just a weird week for offense in the National Football League. There were 35 touchdown passes and 27 interceptions. Now, I'm not saying that I think the numbers are going to bounce back to pre-pandemic, but I do think that we're going to get a little bit better quarterback play. This is a combination of a lot of different things in the National Football League. The offseason matters, and these teams, they don't do anything for 3 weeks and 4 weeks because nobody wants to get injured. and then it's time to show up, and you got to play at a high level. So I expect offensive numbers I expect to see a bump in those numbers. And if you're Washington, you got that first game. You're at home now. You got the Giants. This is a good spot for you to play well if you are the Commanders. Caleb Williams got that first game out of his hands. And I also think Chicago just has too many weapons for me to think that they're just going to be this bad offensively. Now, I know I picked the Bears to make the postseason, but they didn't run it effectively. DeAndre Swift ran it for 30 yards in the game. DJ Moore had 36 yards. Keenan Allen had 29 yards. And Rome Odunze had 11 yards receiving. I don't care how down you can be on Caleb Williams. They're not that bad offensively. So, yes, I expect to bounce back and a resurgent, not just from rookie quarterbacks, but around the rest of the league.
Let's talk about the NFC. We'll talk about first the 0-1 teams. Carrington, your Super Bowl pick, if I recall, your MVP pick, your darling in the NFC.
Nah, you throwing a lot of shade right now.
Was the Green Bay Packers. They lost.
They were my darling. I had them being the 1 seed, and then Jordan Love's knee just blew up.
They play at home with Malik Willis on Sunday inside Lambeau. But like I said, it's Malik Willis time. On a long week against Anthony Richardson and the Colts, do you believe the Packers bounce back, or are they in big trouble staring down the barrel of 0-2?
No. Next question. They have Malik Willis. I mean, come on now. Malik Willis got fired for Will Levis. I mean, if that doesn't tell you everything you need to know. Like, have you ever seen who your ex is with now? And you're like, hey, it's one thing for us not to be together, but you with him? You with that dude? Malik Willis, you got beat out by Will Levis. It's sad work. No, they're not winning. No. I will say this. Did you see that throw from Anthony Richardson in week 1?
That was, woo.
That was the best throw all weekend in the entire National Football League. That was the best throw I saw all week. Indianapolis might have one. If you wanted to see why a team spent a top 5 pick on Anthony Richardson, even though he hasn't played a whole lot of football, that is all you needed to see.
Speaking of the NFC, a surprise 1-0 team, a team that I don't believe any of us saw starting 1-0, the Minnesota Vikings. And by the way,
they had the Giants.
Looked great doing it.
Somebody had to start 1-0, whether it was the Giants or the Vikings.
Sam Darnold didn't throw an incomplete pass.
Sam Darnold was good. Yeah, Sam Darnold was good.
Sam Darnold was very good. Kevin O'Connell, maybe a quarterback whisperer. Do you believe the Vikings continue to be the Cinderella of the NFL? They play host to the Niners on Sunday.
No, I'm not going to take them against San Francisco. I probably would take Minnesota against a lot of other teams in the league. I mean, San Francisco is 18-4 under Brock Purdy's last 22 starts. I can't take Minnesota to win this game. I know they're at home, and they won last year against San Francisco at home. Yeah, they did. That was when Christian McCaffrey and Trent Williams were both injured. Yeah, I can't pick Minnesota
McCaffrey
to
out
win this
again,
game.
though. I mean,
the Jordan Mason kid played well.
Speaking of surprise 1-0 teams, everyone's popular pick for number 1 overall pick, the New England Patriots, they went on the road and beat the Cincinnati Bengals. Carrington, are they going to be a salty bunch, maybe a surprise team? Are they that last to first team in the NFL, or was last week just a one-off and the Patriots get back to being what we thought the Patriots were? They play host to Seattle in week 2.
We see this every year. There is a team that plays a little bit better in week 1 than you think, and we all say to ourselves, man, that team might be better than I thought. No, they're not. 16 teams have to start 1-0. 16 teams have to start 0-1. I am not overreacting to one New England Patriots win for a team that has the worst wide receiver room in the National Football League, a team that has Jacoby Brissett as their starting quarterback. The next handful of games for New England is Seattle, at the Jets, at San Francisco, Miami, and Houston. They got a 5-game losing streak right now loaded up in the queue is what they have. Loss, 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 loss. Don't let that one win against Cincinnati. Cincinnati, who had 2 lost fumbles all of last season, had 2 lost fumbles in week 1 of this season. Let's not overreact to New England now, starting 1-0. I will not do it. I refuse to do it. I might apologize if I'm wrong next week. I don't think I'm going to be wrong. I think we know that New England's one of the bottom 5 teams in the league. I'm not going to let them beating up on Week 1 Cincinnati. Week 1 Cincinnati is one of the 5 worst teams in the National Football League. I'm not going to overreact. No, I'm not going to do it.
I mean, Jacoby Brissett against Geno Smith. If that's not getting Brady and Burkhardt, what is?
Coming up at the top of the hour, we're going to head to Cincinnati and be joined by Mo Edgar. Coming up on the other side, let's get back to the Kansas City Royals, who dropped 2 of 3 against the Yankees. Keep it right here. It's The Drive on 96.5 The Fan.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Your coworkers might annoy you, but we promise we won't. Download the free Odyssey app and you can listen to us at work while you tackle your inbox or get ready for another meeting that probably could have been an email. Tune in late? You can rewind your favorite live shows to catch what you missed. And with Chapters, easily jump to the topics that you care about most, like the latest updates from your team. Your sports talk, your way. The Odyssey app. Download it today.
Danan Hughes here to talk about low T. Low testosterone causes a host of problems. These include low sex drive, bad sleep patterns, unproductive workouts, decreased energy, brain fog, and more. If you're feeling like this, it's time for you to treat that low T and change your life. Harlan Men's Health are experts in treating low testosterone and other men's sexual health conditions. They've successfully treated many men for low T, and men have seen the amazing difference that those treatments can make in their life. Within just a few weeks, you'll feel your energy return, the brain fog will go away, your sleep will improve, as will your workout, and your sex drive will be significantly enhanced as well. Contact Harlan Men's Health today. They have 3 locations to serve you: Overland Park, Kansas, Independence, Missouri, between Blue Springs and Lee Summit, and their new office in North Kansas City. Contact them today at 844-447-6600 or visit harlanmenshealth.com.
Hey friends, it's noisy out there with information coming at us all day, every day. It's hard to know what to trust, and the world of wealth management is no exception. That's why UMB Private Wealth Management helps you tune out the noise and tune into what matters most. They'll create a financial plan based on your unique goals, so it's your voice that comes through loud and clear. Get financial clarity. Go to umb.com/privatewealth to schedule an appointment. That's umb.com/privatewealth.
I'm at a smoothie bar asking people if they'd switch smoothies with me for $574.
Oh, I'll switch.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
That's a headache.
Nope, it's painless.
Oh, so it's easy money.
Yep, check Allstate first and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
Wendy's breakfast burrito has an entire breakfast in every bite. Fresh cracked eggs, seasoned potatoes, American cheese, cheese sauce, and sausage or bacon. So the first bite is like fresh American cheese sauce. Bacon. And the second bite is like fresh American cheese sauce. Bacon. And the third bite, you get the idea. The boss of breakfast burritos, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Right now at Wendy's, you can get a small Frosty for $1. And literally everyone is going. The car behind you, going to get a $1 Frosty. The car ahead of you, already had one, going for a second. The person who cut you off earlier, you guessed it, $1 Frosty. Maybe it's all a sign for you to go get one. Just don't cut anyone off. No one likes that person. The iconic Frosty for $1, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Not valid in a combo. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, California, and via third-party delivery.
The only thing more satisfying than a crisp fall day is a crisp fall day inside your cozy, spotless home. Right now, shop Labor Day savings on select cleaning essentials and exclusive brands from the Home Depot. Plus, with fast free delivery, you don't have to worry about running out of your favorite cleaners, paper products, trash bags, and more. The Home Depot has everything you need to get ready for a fall refresh. Get your home crisp, clean, and ready for the season with the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Free delivery on over 2 million items subject to availability.
Join 96.5 The Fan and Bud Light for the Fans Football Show with Mitchell Schwartz and Jay Binkley every Thursday in September starting at 6 at participating Buffalo Wild Wings locations. Enjoy $5 talls, prizes, and Chiefs gear. For a list of locations, go to 965thefan.com. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Lenexa southbound 35 before 435. Roadwork has the right 2 lanes closed. Your backup is to 95th. DeSoto eastbound K10 past Cale Creek Road. The bridge work has the right lane closed. I'm Bill Brooks with 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Patrick Mahomes joins CDOT every week during the season, right here on 96.5 The Fan.
Welcome back into the drive on 96.5 The Fan and also 965thefan.com. You can also check us out on the Odyssey app. The show is on Twitch now. It's on YouTube. It's on Amazon. I don't know. The show is a lot of different places now. Coming up at the top of the hour, we're going to head to Cincinnati and be joined by Mo Edgar. He covers the Cincinnati Bengals. Happy to catch up with him and learn what in the world happened Week 1 against the New England Patriots. We'll learn more about that. But let's get back to the Royals in the meantime before we head to Cincinnati. So we talked about this a little bit earlier, but the team I would like for the Royals to play in the postseason, I would pick the Baltimore Orioles. The Orioles have really struggled in the second half of the season. They were maybe the best team in baseball the first half of the season. They went 58-38. Since the All-Star break, they are 25-26. They have not played well at all, to the point where this is the response from one of their starting pitchers when asked, how can this team pull things together down the stretch?
I wish that was my job to tell you, but that's not my job. My job is to go out there and pitch. That's a question for the higher ups, the guys who make the decisions of who plays, who doesn't play, and all that stuff. So I wish I could tell you, but I've got no answer for that.
I'm looking at the second half of the schedule for the Baltimore Orioles. I don't think they're going to be able to catch the Cleveland Guardians, them meeting the Royals in this conversation. I just don't think they're going to be able to do that. We're talking about a team that's 4.5 games back with less than 20 to play. I just think that the Royals are going to have to play at a pretty astronomical pace down the stretch, and I just don't know if they're going to be able to keep up. I don't know how feasible it is to be able to catch them down the stretch. I do think there's a chance you could catch the Baltimore Orioles. I mean, right now the Orioles are 3 games up on the Kansas City Royals. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be easy to do that, but, I mean, the final 12 games for the Orioles, they play 6 games against the Tigers, so 15 games, excuse me. They play 6 games against the Tigers. The Tigers are a competitive, good baseball team, and their final 6 games, they play 3 games against the Yankees that are going to be very pivotal for them. Those games are on the road, and then they end the season on the road against Minnesota, another team that's competing for a wild card spot. So those games against the Yankees are the 3 most important games of their season with how close that divisional race is. And you also go on the road to play Minnesota. I mean, we're talking about a team that has been struggling over the course of the last 3 weeks anyway. And this really isn't a schedule that I think is going to allow you to get hot. Is it possible, Rob, in your opinion, for these final 15 games, could the Royals outplay the Orioles over the course of these next 15? I mean, you are at a disadvantage. I think everyone would agree with that. But you get hot down the stretch. Do you think there's a chance they catch the Orioles? You're going to need them to kind of come back to the pack a little bit.
I mean, their schedule, if I recall, their schedule does lend itself to catching them up. There's some Twins on their schedule. There's some Tigers on their schedule. Like, there's a little bit of, hey, I don't like playing the schedule game that much in baseball, but the Orioles schedule is more difficult than the Royals down the stretch. I mean, we've talked about it with Vern a lot. The Royals were in the, the riptide, as Vern liked to call it. And now they've come out of that. And here come the Orioles. They have the Tigers for 3. They're sitting with, I guess, the Giants stink, but then they have the Tigers again. They have the Yankees. They have the Twins. I mean, that's a difficult stretch to end the season. So the schedule game would benefit the Royals, but It's hard for me to say for sure I think the Royals can catch them because I think the Orioles are the more talented team. Like, I'm buying Royal stock for the postseason. They're playing the Orioles, but just on a pure talent perspective, I think the Orioles are better, but the schedule game lends you to believe it could be done. It's just a very tight window to get it done.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you that the Orioles are probably more talented than the Royals, but that hasn't been the difference in the second half of the season. The Orioles, if you just look at their schedule, I made the analogy earlier, they're a lot like the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles last year, they were really good in the first half of the season, and then there was an obvious switch that turned. We're talking about a team that in the first half of the season, they were 58-38. They won 60% of their games in the first half of the season. That's a pretty decent sample size. Now we're talking about a team that over their last 50 games, they're under 500. Their run differential, it went from, Rob, they scored 80 more runs in the first half of the season. They now only have a run differential of +4 over their last 50 games. This is not the same team that we saw the first three and a half months of the season. I don't watch the Orioles enough to tell you exactly what has changed, and we'll certainly talk more about them, especially if the Royals play them down the stretch. But this is a team that I think the Royals match up well against. And the Royals, they kind of got things right and started playing some of their better baseball over the course of the last 3 weeks or so. I mean, they just swept the Minnesota Twins. That's not what that's not what Baltimore has been doing these last handful of weeks.
You're right, and sometimes it's not a matter of how how good you are. It's a matter of how well you're playing. And the Royals are definitely playing a lot better than the Orioles right now, and that includes the fact that they've been 9-11 in the last 20. That's what Verd called the Riptide. They went 500 through the Riptide, including sweeping the Twins. So they're definitely playing better baseball, but it's kind of like with the Orioles, it's kind of a tough spot because the Royals are, I believe they are 4 or 4.5 games up on the Tigers, who are battling for the third wild card spot. And the Tigers are coming on strong. They're talking about a team playing their best baseball. The Tigers that right now. The Orioles and Tigers play each other this weekend. If you are a Royals fan, you're kind of stuck in no man's land. You either are A, cheering for the O's because you want to keep the Tigers in your rearview mirror, a team that's playing great baseball and has a series of the Royals coming up and could gain ground, or do you cheer for the Tigers being like, hey, we're coming after the O's, we want that number one wild card spot? I actually think Kansas City is going to be focused on Pittsburgh and the Royals this weekend. Obviously, it's Royals baseball, but as far as scoreboard watching go, I'm curious how fans look at that Orioles-Tigers series because I could see an argument for both sides of who you're cheering for in that one.
Text line 913-586-7965. CDOT, Cleveland has 4 against Houston and Minnesota. They can still be had. I think the Royals had their opportunity to pass up the Cleveland Guardians, and they let it slip. They had their chance. They were tied with Cleveland. They had the lead going into the 7th inning. If they win that game, they come back home to Kansas City up 1. You know, I love my basketball analogies. They had the ball in a tie ball game, and if you make this shot, you take the lead. They have never passed Cleveland. So maybe you're right. In theory, you are not wrong. Is the division over? No, it's not over. Could the Royals catch the Cleveland Guardians? Man, they had their shot to do it. They were down 9 games at one point this season. They got it down where if they win the final 9 outs against the Cleveland Guardians, they overtake them. Think about that. That was 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago? They went from up in the 7th inning with the chance to be 1 game ahead to now 4.5 games back. It's just not realistic to me to think that the Royals are winning the American League Central. You could dream for a little bit there for a 2-week stretch, and that dream has to be over, in my opinion. Cleveland is 84-62. The Royals are 80-67. How many games would the Royals have to win, you think, to realistically win the division? Because right now, their over-under is at 88.5. So if you believe that Vegas knows, their over-under in Vegas is 88.5. I don't see the Royals getting past 90 wins. If you're Cleveland, you win 6 more games, you're at 90 wins. You win 7 more games, you're at 91 wins. I just don't think it's realistic anymore to think that the Royals are taking the division. I certainly hope that they do. Their pathway to trying to really make a run of this thing would be better if they win the division. I just think they had their opportunity and they let it slip through their fingers when they had Cleveland on the ropes. They had a chance to knock Cleveland out, in my opinion, and they missed their shot. Coming up on the other side, let's get back to the NFL. We'll head to Cincinnati, Ohio, and be joined by Mo Edgar, who covers the Cincinnati Bengals. What in the world went wrong for them in Week 1? We'll find out. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Two-car crash, northbound 35 just past 635. That is closing the right lane. And some slow traffic on the southern lanes of the downtown loop. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
This September, Diamonds Direct's ultimate offer is back, stronger than ever. Diamonds Direct helps you get the perfect jewelry gift with 0% interest. That's right, enjoy 5 years of 0% financing on any Diamonds Direct purchase. It's your chance to get her the perfect ring with 0 interest and comfortable monthly payments that fit your budget. But act fast. This offer ends September 30th. For details and more, visit diamondsdirect.com. Spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest on approved credit. Only at Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Mitchell Schwartz. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings located at 152 Highway and North Flintlock Road in KC Mo on Thursday, September 12th. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs. Enjoy responsibly. For more details, go to 965thefan.com.
What's up, everybody? Nick Costos here with the Sports Betting Minute, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Please gamble responsibly. Week 2 of pro football tonight, Thursday Night Football in Miami. Miami a 2.5-point home favorite against Buffalo. Total in the game sitting at 49. I think Buffalo's going to try to take the air out of the football, run the ball a lot against the Miami defense that gave up nearly 5 yards per carry in Week 1 to Jacksonville. So I like the under in this game. I would lean under 49. The bet that I really like, though, Buffalo starting running back. His rushing yards prop tonight sitting at 60.5. I think he goes way over that number. So again, tonight give me Buffalo starting running back over 60.5 yards. That's it for this Sports Betting Minute, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Download the BetMGM app today. Please gamble responsibly.
BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Brought to you by Blue KC is the Coaches with Character program. Do you know a rock star high school coach in your district? Nominate them for the Blue KC Coaches with Character program at bluekc.com/nominate coaches with character. Let's make our coaches feel special and make our community a better place to live, work, and play.
Hey, it's Bob Fesco, and I'm here with my friend Brian Manning of Manning Roofing. And Brian, if I have friends with insurance claims, why would I recommend them to you at Manning Roofing?
Well, Bob, we're a one-stop shop for all trades, roofs, windows, siding, and gutters. We have licensed and insured subcontractors and a dedicated project manager that'll be on site to deal with your insurance company and make sure we submit all the documentation needed.
So do what we did and set up your appointment today at manninggc.com or give them a call at 816-448-8208. The choice is simple. It's Manning Roofing.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights, open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
Right now at Wendy's, you can get a small Frosty for $1. And literally everyone is going. The car behind you, going to get a $1 Frosty. The car ahead of you, already had one, going for a second. The person who cut you off earlier, you guessed it, $1 Frosty. Maybe it's all a sign for you to go get one. Just don't cut anyone off. No one likes that person. The iconic Frosty for $1, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Not valid in a combo. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, California, and via third-party delivery.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights, open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
Milo's Rewards members, it's Labor Day and doorbuster deals are waiting for you. Take advantage of holiday prices and save $1,500 on a Hisense smart French door refrigerator to create your dream kitchen. Plus, save $100 on a 10-foot animatronic skeleton because Halloween is right around the corner. Not a member? Join for free today to get these savings and more. Valid through 9/2. Program subject to terms and conditions. Details at Lowe's.com/terms. Subject to change. While supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery on select smart beds when you add any base. Ends Labor Day. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your new home for Chiefs football. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Welcome back into the drive on 96.5 The Fan. Let's take a trip to Cincinnati, Ohio, and we'll be joined by friend of the show, Mo Edgar, to take a closer look at the Cincinnati Bengals. Mo, I feel like you come on the show at least every other month because these two teams always play each other.
I think it's become the best organic rivalry in the NFL, where, it's not based on being division foes. It's not based on geography. It's not based on, some sort of long-time history. It's based on a lot of really good games, a lot of really high-stakes games. And I think, as much as I don't think these two teams really like each other, I do think there's a ton of mutual respect. And so I don't care who you root for. I think if you're an NFL fan, you've had this one circled since the schedule came out.
Mo, I think the number one question that all of us have is, what in the world happened last week with Cincinnati to lose 16-10 at home to the New England Patriots, a team that had one of the 5 worst records in the NFL last year, a team that is starting Jacoby Brissett? How did things go so wrong for Cincinnati in week 1?
It's never any one thing, but the biggest thing was Joe Burrow didn't play like Joe Burrow. And you could tell, I think 2 series into the game, that this was going to be a slog. This was going to be the sort of game that if they won it, they were going to have to grind it out, maybe win something like, 19-16, and then we all do the, a win is a win thing after the game. Joe, it wasn't that he played bad. It's that he played uncharacteristically bad. And what I mean by that is, you think if Joe Burrow isn't effective, all right, he misses on some deep passes, he throws a pick or 2, he gets sacked, he's always under pressure. None of those things were in play. It was remarkable watching an offense that not that long ago was articulated by Joe Burrow as, quote, F it, throw it downfield, Jamar will go get it, to a complete and total unwillingness to throw the ball downfield. Not 30 yards downfield, not 40 yards downfield, 10 yards downfield. 16 of his first 20 passes didn't travel beyond 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. He's throwing short of the sticks on 3rd and 10. He's throwing short of the sticks on 4th and 2. And so, do you attribute that to him maybe not being 100% from a health perspective? Obviously, that's a fair conclusion to draw. Was it a bad game plan? I think it was, to the extent that the passes that Joe Burrow did complete resulted in the guy who caught the ball being tackled almost instantly. Nobody was really getting open. Was it him simply having a bad day, maybe not feeling comfortable because he took some early hits? Perhaps, but as the game went on, the protection was really, really good. There were other factors in the game. They couldn't stop the run, which I think, frankly, with this team is kind of to be expected. They didn't have T. Higgins, which, all right, fine, but they did have Jamar Chase. They did have Joe Burrow. They were at home. They were playing a bad New England team. And so for the result to be what it was and for the game to play out the way it did, I think it's the worst regular season loss of the Zach Taylor era, and it was certainly a very sobering way to start the season.
Right now, we're talking to Mo Edgar of ESPN 1530 in Cincinnati, getting you ready for Chiefs and Bengals, the marquee game on CBS this week. Mo, who are Cincinnati fans sort of attributing their slow starts to? Because one of my big points this week has been that when you have a dysfunctional August, the way that Cincinnati has had multiple times, it creates a dysfunctional September. This team has the Burrow thing to overcome. T. Higgins isn't healthy. Jamar Chase is unhappy about his contract, and then that carries over to the first week of the season. This team is now 1-8 in the first 2 weeks of the season under Zach Taylor. Who are Cincinnati fans sort of pointing the finger at for why this organization continues to get off to slow starts?
The coaching staff. And I think it's not just Sunday. It's exactly what you just mentioned. It's the 1-8. It's the 0-2 start to last season, the 1-3 start to last season, the 0-2 start to 2022. And by the way, they recovered in 2022, won their last 8 regular season games, made the AFC Championship game. They recovered enough last year to be above 500 in late October and kind of be on track to get back to the postseason before Joe got hurt. But yeah, look, there were mitigating factors this year. Joe is not 100%. The Jamar Chase thing kind of took on a life of its own. It's the job of a coaching staff to have their team ready. And if this was an isolated thing, you could say, all right, you know what, maybe training camp got a little bit away from them. Maybe, there were some things that could have gone a little bit differently. But when you look at last year, they were ill-prepared to play the first game of the season on the road against Cleveland, lost 27-3. 2 years ago, ill-prepared in their season opener against the Pittsburgh Steelers, a Pittsburgh team that then lost its next 4 games. They played that game at home. And so I think the common denominator is the coaching staff. You've got to have your team prepared to play week 1. I think what's interesting, though, about this year is beyond all the noise surrounding Jamar Chase, this was the training camp where they were going to hit more, where they were going to approach camp a little bit more with the idea of hitting the ground running. They had 2 joint practices, which, frankly, are more competitive environments than the preseason games, and yet still they came out flat. And so regardless of how this season ends up, regardless of how many games they win or lose in 2024, when we get to next July and training camp begins, we're all going to be wondering, okay, is this the year that they can come charging out of the gate? Because they haven't done it. They haven't won their season opener but one time since Zach Taylor became the head coach. And so getting back to your original question, there's lots of different people you can point to for the poor performance on Sunday. But when you lump everything together the last couple of years and you look at how ill-prepared this team has been to start the season, that reflects mainly on the head coach.
Joe Burrow is a very interesting case. I believe that when he's healthy, he's the second best quarterback in the league behind Patrick Mahomes. But this week, and just watching so much of their game on Sunday against New England, I find myself asking, man, when was the last time that Joe Burrow was healthy, and when was the last time he played like the guy that I think he is? And you and I both take a look at the AFC, and you got Patrick Mahomes, and you got C.J. Stroud, and Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow we're talking about, and Trevor Lawrence. Burrow doesn't look like the guy that's in that same conversation with where Stroud, Mahomes, and Lamar Jackson is right now. I know a lot of that is injury-based. Do you have any worry or fear if Burrow can get back to being that guy that he was in 2022 when he was an undeniable top 3 quarterback in the league?
I think it at least has to be in the back of your mind until you start to see him play like the guy that you just referenced. Now, to be fair to Joe, he started the season poorly last year. He was dealing with a calf issue. Obviously, we know how his season ended. But right before he got hurt, he had about a 4-game stretch where he played like the guy that you referenced. He played like one of the best 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the league. He had a terrific performance on the road against San Francisco in a game the Bengals dominated. He had a very good performance in prime time against the Buffalo Bills. He led an insane comeback in a game that they still lost against the Houston Texans. He was getting there, and he was playing really well. Unfortunately, it all got washed away because he suffered the injury. He didn't play the last basically 2 months of the season, and Jake Browning took over. But look, here's the reality, okay? He has played 4 NFL seasons and a game. And within that time frame, he's had a season-ending knee injury. He had the Super Bowl, which he limped off with a knee injury, as people remember, when they lost to the Rams. He's had an appendectomy. He's had a calf issue that kept him from being at his best last season. And he's had a season-ending wrist injury that last year required surgery that apparently is lingering into this year. And so more than half of the time that he has been in the league, he has either been out with an injury, recovering from an injury, playing with an injury, trying to gain weight because of an injury. And so those things, number one, they add up. And I think you're being completely reasonable if you wonder about the cumulative effect. But there's a long stretch of time where he plays uninterrupted. We're not talking about injuries. We're solely focusing on his performance, and those performances, meet the standard that he set in 2021 and 2022. Until then, I think you're always going to hesitate a little bit when you talk about Joe in relation to Patrick Mahomes or Joe in relation to anybody else. Now, you and I both know a year ago at this time, we were all wondering, well, can Lamar Jackson get through a full season? And he did last year. And so now we don't talk nearly as much about his injuries. This is a big, big season for Joe, because if by the end of the season we're still talking about how often he's hurt, well, then that's 3 out of 5 years.
Mo, give me your Chiefs win-if scenario. Give me your Bengals win-if scenario to go on the road. And I know that Vegas would consider this an upset, but given these two teams' history, it would not be surprising if Cincinnati leaves Arrowhead with another win.
3 things have to happen. I think, number one, they're going to have to figure out a way to take some pressure off of Joe. They've retooled the running game. Joe Mixon is no longer here. By the way, that move looked terrible after the way he played for the Texans last week. They're going to have to find a way offensively to take some pressure off Joe Burrow by running the ball more effectively. And we did see some glimpses of that in the New England game. It's not something they want to lean on. They might have to lean on it a little bit more heavily this week. I think you have to ask Joe Burrow, look, you've got Jamar Chase, find him downfield. The unwillingness to throw the ball deep, he doesn't have to be perfect. They can still take advantage of his check down game. But if you're going to play offensive football in a phone booth, this team suddenly becomes very easy to defend. They were really easy to defend last week. It goes without saying Joe has to be great, but he's going to have to be great by being able to exploit some matchups with Jamar Chase. And I think the really interesting thing about this game, the Bengals have remade their secondary, and they've got some corners back there who are really raw and really young, also really talented. They moved Dax Hill from safety to corner, former first-round pick from Michigan. They've got Cam Taylor-Britt, who's kind of moved into the CB1 role, if you will. They've remade the safety room with Geno Stone coming over from Baltimore, and Von Bell coming back. Patrick Mahomes has the weapons and the arm to test that secondary. The New England Patriots last week could not. I am really interested to see how the Bengals pass those tests. And if they do, they've got more than a puncher's chance. And I think the other side of the coin is very similar. When Patrick Mahomes tries to test that Cincinnati secondary, if the Bengals don't pass that test, it's going to be a long day for Cincinnati's defense. And if the Bengals play offensive football the way they did against New England on the road against KC, they have almost no chance. What I am interested in, maybe from a more schematic standpoint, is Cincinnati's offensive line held up okay as the game went on. Joe was really pressured, I think, on 6 of 35 dropbacks. We all know what Chris Jones can do. We've seen Kansas City wreck the Bengals up front in the past. What do we see on Sunday?
That is our guy Mo Edgar joining the show today. He is with ESPN 1350 in Cincinnati. He said one of the more interesting points I've heard this week about Joe Burrow. We'll go over it. Keep it right here. It's The Drive on 96.5 The Fan.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
You've been waiting, and now is the time. Golden Oak Lending has fixed mortgage rates at 4.875%. But don't wait. This rate won't last forever. Call today and take advantage of our low 4.875 fixed rate. Call 913-890-GOLD. That's 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
5.784 APR. FHA 15-year 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
If you're hearing this, you're in Chiefs Kingdom, the land of champions. And what do champions do? They win. Play the world champions Kansas City Chiefs instant ticket from the Kansas Lottery for a chance to win up to $75,000. Or enter your tickets into the Play On app for a chance to win one-of-a-kind Chiefs experiences. Because the only thing better than winning is winning again. See KSLottery.com for details.
Winchester at Lake City Army Ammunition Plant in Independence is the largest manufacturer of small caliber ammunition for the U.S. military. They're hiring technicians starting at $26.72 an hour with a $1,000 hiring bonus. Excellent day one benefits include medical, dental, educational support, paid time off, and company retirement contributions up to 8%. Join Winchester and serve the U.S. warfighter. It's more than a job. It's a mission. Apply at winchester.com/careers.
This year, FanDuel is giving you a chance to win big every Thursday night with FanDuel Squares. It's the same Super Bowl Squares game you've always known, only way better. That's because your numbers aren't just randomly assigned. You get to pick them yourself. You can pick as many as you like. You'll get to see the odds beforehand, and you can bet them live during the game. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/610Bob and bet on Squares. Plus, if you're new to FanDuel, you can get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
This year, FanDuel is giving you a chance to win big every Thursday night with FanDuel Squares. It's the same Super Bowl Squares you've always known, but this time much better. That's because your numbers aren't randomly assigned. You get to pick them yourself. You can pick as many numbers as you like. You'll get to see the odds beforehand, and you can bet them live during the game. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/CDOT. Use my promo code and bet on Squares. Plus, if you're new to FanDuel, you'll get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. Visit FanDuel.com/CDOT. Use my promo code, and if you're new to FanDuel, you'll get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. So what are you waiting for? 21 and present in Kansas. Full price of NFL Sunday ticket will automatically be charged seasonally after free trial. No refunds, terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem. Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
MD Anderson Cancer Center is again ranked #1 in the nation for cancer care by U.S. News & World Report's Best Hospitals rankings. Our physicians treat more types of cancers in a day than many see in their whole career. This unmatched depth of expertise, combined with our groundbreaking discoveries, gives our patients access to the most innovative treatment options. Learn more at mdanderson.org.
Every business faces challenges, but complicated, expensive, and uncertain shipping shouldn't be one of them.
With USPS Ground Advantage from the United States Postal Service, you can avoid all the noise.
No more unexpected surcharges, hidden fees, or complex rate structures.
It's just easy, cost-effective, and dependable shipping. Tune your business's frequency to success and turn shipping to your advantage. Learn how at USPS.com/advantage. USPS Ground Advantage. Simple, affordable, reliable.
Brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Mitchell Schwartz. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings located at 152 Highway and North Flintlock Road in KC-Mo on Thursday, September 12th. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs. Enjoy responsibly. For more details, go to 965thefan.com.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
With our crash northbound 35 just past 635, closing the right lane and a vehicle fire. Northbound 35 just past 87th Street. That right lane is closed. Got a big stretch of backed up traffic on the north and southbound lanes of 35 from Mission Road to Overland Parkway. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's Rashee Rice. Welcome to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, I got a couple of NFL topics that I want us to get through. You can text in 913-586-7965. One of them, I need your help. The other one, I don't need your help. This is the first one. Mo Edgar was just on the show. Shout out to Mo Edgar. Anytime we go to Cincinnati, we go to Mo Edgar. Listen to how he described Joe Burrow and tell me if he is describing one of the better quarterbacks in the National Football League, because that's not what I heard from Mo.
That not that long ago was articulated by Joe Burrow as, quote, F it, throw it downfield, Jamar will go get it, to a complete and total unwillingness to throw the ball downfield. Not 30 yards downfield, not 40 yards downfield, 10 yards downfield. 16 of his first 20 passes didn't travel beyond 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. He's throwing short of the sticks on 3rd and 10. He's throwing short of the sticks on 4th and 2. And so, do you attribute that to him maybe not being 100% from a health perspective? Obviously, that's a fair conclusion to draw. Was it a bad game plan? I think it was, to the extent that the passes that Joe Burrow did complete resulted in the guy who caught the ball being tackled almost instantly. Nobody was really getting open. Was it him simply having a bad day, maybe not feeling comfortable because he took some early hits? Perhaps.
The way that he just described Joe Burrow does not make him one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the NFL. These were his words. He does afternoons in Cincinnati. He's me. He said that Joe Burrow has an unwillingness to throw the ball down the field. He said 16 of his first 20 passes in the game on Sunday failed to go further than 5 yards down the field. And on 3rd and 10, he's throwing short of the sticks. And on 4th and 2, he's throwing short of the sticks. I was watching that 4th down conversion when it got stopped. It was very similar to what we saw Lamar do on Thursday. Remember, the Ravens made the decision to go for it on 4th down. It was 4th and 3. They threw a 1-yard route. It got 1 yard, and it was a turnover on down. The almost exact same thing happened in Cincinnati on Sunday with them going up against the New England Patriots. The afternoon host in Cincinnati is telling you that Joe Burrow's not a top 5 quarterback anymore. You can't have an unwillingness to throw the ball. 16 of your first 20 passes go less than 5 yards, and you're telling me that you're C.J. Stroud. And you're telling me that you're Patrick Mahomes. You're telling me you're Josh Allen. You're not in that conversation right now. You can get back in that conversation, but, Rob, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Text line, you can chime in on this, obviously, 913-586-7965. What I just heard him say is that quarterback sounds a shell of what he used to be. I'm big on yards per attempt. I'm big on yards per completion. That stuff matters. And I know we talk about how you can scheme guys open, and yes, you can do those things. It has been a drastic night and day difference from the kind of player that he used to be. Joe Burrow in 2021, he was at 8.9 yards per attempt. In 2022, he was at 7.4 yards per attempt. In 2023, it was at 6.3. In the first game of the season, I know it's one game, it was 5.7. I can give you the list of quarterbacks. If that's what your yards per attempt is, if you're completing and your yards per attempt, your completions, it's less than 6 yards, you're one of the bottom quarterbacks in the National Football League. That's not even league average, not even close to what league average is for one of those guys. At some point, Joe Burrow's got to get back to being Joe Burrow. And I do wonder, with his injury history, what does that look like? What does Joe Burrow look like with all the injuries that we read off yesterday? I can pull the list back up, but it's been wrist injury, torn ACL, rib cartilage. It's been a lot of wear and tear on that body. What does 100% Joe Burrow look like in 2024? Because if you're telling me that this was a good offseason for Joe Burrow, and he has been at all the mini camps, been at all the practices, that quarterback that I saw looked like a shell of himself. That is not the same quarterback that won the Heisman Trophy. That is not the same quarterback that his second year in the NFL had 34 touchdown passes, 14 interceptions, and completed 70% of his passes. That's not the same quarterback that came into Kansas City and won the AFC Championship game. I don't know what kind of imposter Joe Burrow that the Bengals are trotting out there, but that's not an elite quarterback.
The question becomes, because the stats indicate exactly what you said, the question becomes, is what's happening to Joe Burrow a product of injury, and they are now scheming to protect him? We kind of talked about this earlier in the week, but it's KU, but I think you'll understand the comparison. Jalen Daniels doesn't look right. KU is clearly scheming with quick hitters, screens, underneath. It's you don't trust your body, you don't trust your arm. We got to be different. That's how it looks with the Bengals. They're not throwing downfield. How much of this is scheme? How much of this Joe Burrow? How much is scheme and Burrow coming together because Burrow doesn't trust his body? Like, I remember we had Mo Edgar on the show. It was around the draft. We were talking about, the Bengals and all those things. And we asked him, hey, what's the deal with Burrow? He's not practicing yet at OTAs. And he said, well, if the season started today, he wouldn't be playing. That was either, it was around the draft. So April, May, whenever those little OTAs are or whatever they call them, he wasn't practicing. So something is up with Joe Burrow. The question is the coaching staff trying to get the ball out of his hands quicker to protect him because of his health? Or is he a little gun shy and getting the ball out of his hands quicker because of his health? But there seems to be an obvious correlation between what's happening on the field and his health history. They don't seem to be mutually exclusive.
Do you think that this show loves an NBA basketball comparison more or a relationship analogy the most? I mean, I can pull either one out of the bag at any given moment. I've got a relationship analogy for the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow. Are you ready for this one?
I'm excited for it.
Okay. Have you ever been in a relationship where you are either fighting with that person or you are making up from fighting with that person? Eventually, that house of cards crumbles. The makeup lovey-dovey is only going to go so far. When do you guys just have moments of peace? When do you guys just have the ability to sit there and laugh and watch a movie and talk about each other's day? That's not a healthy relationship. For the last 18 months, Joe Burrow has either been injured or recovering from an injury. When was the last time that you thought you watched a healthy Joe Burrow? Because it was at no point last year. He got hurt in training camp. He was hurt the entire season and looked off. He then hurt his wrist once he got the leg injury healed. And the Joe Burrow that I watched on Sunday didn't look healthy to me. When was the last time, Rob, that you think you watched a healthy Joe Burrow? I don't even know if he was healthy in the Super Bowl against the Los Angeles Rams. He was banged up in that game. When was the last time that you think we watched a Joe Burrow that either was not hurt or recovering from an injury? I know it's football, so guys are hurt. But right now, we have no reason to believe that Patrick Mahomes is hurt, right? We have no reason to believe it. We have no reason to think that he had surgery this offseason, that the ankle is bothering him anymore. Everything about him seems like he is the same Patrick Mahomes, C.J. Stroud, Jalen Hurts, all of these other quarterbacks. When was the last time that you and I went into an NFL game week and injury was not a concern with the quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals? It's been a while. If you were in a relationship where you were either fighting with that person or making up from the fight, eventually your relationship, you got to let this thing go. At some point, Burrow, I want to see what healthy Joe Burrow looks like. I have no clue what that looks like anymore. It's been at least 18 months since we've seen that with him.
I mean, this was probably 2 years ago. Not the AFC title game, but the year the Bengals beat the Chiefs in the AFC title game. Remember, they played that game in Cincinnati. It was like December, late November. It was a late in the season game. It was the first time the Chiefs and Bengals had matched up. And it was the game where Charvarius Ford had the multiple penalties on the goal line, which gave the Bengals the win. Joe Burrow looked great in that game. And that's when Kansas City started to realize, oh, there's a threat in town. He then went on, had a playoff run, and beat Kansas City in the AFC title game. But that AFC title game was coming off the heels of a, 8-9 sack game against the Titans? I don't think he was at 100% that day. I don't think he was 100% in the Super Bowl. And I don't think we've seen him 100% since. So to answer your question, I don't remember the Bengals' schedule game by game by game by game, but the first time the Joe Burrow Bengals faced Kansas City Chiefs in the regular season, that is the last time I can remember thinking to myself, he's at 100%. He is in tip-top form.
And someone on the text line is saying, CDOT, it's only been 1 week of Joe Burrow. And again, I think that that's fair. I'm not telling you I'm throwing away all the Joe Burrow stock. I'm not going Chris Canty here. But I do think it is fair to notice all the quarterbacks that you guys think are good played well in week 1 other than one of them. Patrick Mahomes played well in week 1. It was 1 week. Patrick Mahomes was Patrick Mahomes the first week of the season. C.J. Stroud, pretty good, right? We think he's a top 5 quarterback in the league. C.J. Stroud looked a lot like C.J. Stroud. You know I'm not the biggest Tua fan in the world, but Tua played well in week 1. Dak Prescott played well in week 1. Brock Purdy played well. The quarterbacks that you think are capable all played well in week 1, except one of them. Cincinnati's quarterback. You tell me the other good quarterback to struggle this week. I'm not sure if Aaron Rodgers is good. I'm not sure if Kirk Cousins is good. Not 36 coming off an Achilles injury. Maybe you'll be good like week 10, week 11. I'm not sure if those guys are good right now. All the good younger QBs in the league, they all played well this weekend except one. So we can say it's 1 week with Joe Burrow. That 1 week looked a lot like week 10 from last year, looked a lot like week 9 from last year, looked a lot like week 8 from last year. Remember the slow start they got off to last year? They don't look any different in week 1 than they looked the early part of last season when they dug themselves in an incredible hole and obviously were unable to get out of it. They looked better at times with Jake Browning last year because they finally had a healthy quarterback to utilize all the weapons that they had.
I mean, it's sad as a football fan. Like, let's say this version of Joe Burrow is the Burrow we're going to get until his career ends. He's just not a Super Bowl quarterback, and he's not, even a good quarterback in the league. I'm trying to think of a very middle blah quarterback that we saw last year. I don't even know the comparison, but we know the talent is there. We've seen the talent. We've seen it on display both in the league and in college football. But if that guy is no longer the quarterback of the Bengals are gone. And Joe Burrow's career is eventually going to fade because you can't continue to pay that guy that amount of money to be just okay, which is all he was in week 1. I don't think he was bad. Like, I think Will Levis was bad. And that's an unfair comparison to Joe, but Joe was in the middle. But a guy that we both think is a top 10 quarterback in the league should not come in at, hey, he had the 17th best week 1. That's not how it works.
Let me ask you this question. Text on, let me ask you this question. 913-586-7965. I actually do need you guys' help on this one. So if you could help me, I would greatly appreciate it. I would say there are 3 groups of teams in the National Football League for the Kansas City Chiefs. There is one, it is embarrassing to lose to that team. The Indianapolis Colts a couple of years ago. It is embarrassing to lose to the Indianapolis Colts. If the Chiefs play Carolina later on this season and they lose to the Panthers, that is embarrassing. The Panthers are not a good team. If the Chiefs lost at home to the Patriots, you would consider that to be an embarrassing loss, right? Like, you would consider that to be embarrassing, right? So there's that group of teams. There are a group of teams, they could lose to that team. It's not crazy if the Chiefs lose, right? If they lose to, you pick a decent team in the league. That's not crazy if they lose to them. And then I would say there's like a last group of teams, they could beat them. San Francisco could beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs don't have to play poorly. Just for one individual Sunday, San Francisco just plays a little bit better than Kansas City, and they win. Do you still think that Cincinnati is in that group of a team that you think they can beat Kansas City? Because they can lose to is a much larger group of teams than teams that you think can beat Kansas City. A team like Detroit can beat the Chiefs. I don't think they would win a series against Kansas City, but none of us would be surprised if this week they played the Lions and the Lions won a hard-fought 24-21 game. They've proven to be one of the 5 best teams in the league. I would say Philadelphia is probably one of those teams that the Chiefs that could beat the Kansas City Chiefs. There's not that many teams that I would put in that category where it's not just the Chiefs playing poorly why you win. It's also you play well enough to beat Kansas City. Do you think that Cincinnati is still one of those teams that could beat Kansas City?
Yes.
Or do they need help to do it? Because the offense that I just saw that scored 10 points against the New England Patriots, that team needs Kansas City's help to beat them.
They're still in the yes category. They can still beat Kansas City. I still have them in that same category. Now, that doesn't mean I have them as a Super Bowl contender right now. I might need to see more, but they can beat Kansas City. Carrington, last year it was New Year's Eve, and the Chiefs played the Bengals, and Jake Browning was the starting quarterback against the Chiefs. By all metrics, it should have been a nice, comfortable victory. This should have been something like 31-17. The Chiefs' defense handles Jake Browning. The offense outclasses the Bengals. It should have been easy money. And that was an 8-point game. And it was a 1-point game into the fourth quarter. And if you're a Bengals fan, you could probably paint a scenario in your head where you say, hey, if we didn't have Jake Browning today, we might be a threat to the Chiefs. The same Chiefs that went on to win the Super Bowl. I've also seen this Bengals team pretty consistently beat the Chiefs. They're 3-1 in the regular season against the Chiefs? They're 1-1 in the postseason? Now, I know what you're going to say. That's a different Joe Burrow, and that's fine. But until I see them totally topple off that ledge, which I didn't see last year with a backup quarterback, I'm going to keep them in the can beat the Chiefs category because Lou Anarumo and Zach Taylor, they just know something about the Chiefs to keep these games competitive and get the best of them a decent amount of times. So yes, they are still in that category for now, but they're teetering. They're on the edge, but they stay in the can beat Kansas City category.
Where do you think the offense is coming from Cincinnati if T. Higgins doesn't play? Because it sounds like he's not going to play. He's not practiced so far this week, didn't play last week. I don't think you don't play in week 1, don't practice in week 2, and you show up on Sunday and you're a big-time figure. Is there anybody on this offense that scares you at this point? Because when Cincinnati was a team that we did not have to have this conversation about, you had Joe Mixon, who ran for 1,000 yards. You had Jamar Chase, who I think is one of the 5 best receivers in the league. You know I loved a healthy T. Higgins. You had Tyler Boyd. You had a capable tight end. Cincinnati used to have 3 or 4 weapons that you couldn't just key in on Jamar Chase because T. Higgins could beat you. Tyler Boyd could go for 70 yards. You get some capable yards from your tight end. I look at this offense right now. What kind of game do you think Cincinnati wins? So let's say that Cincinnati, we come on here on Monday and Cincinnati wins this game 27-24. How do they do it? Because I don't know if they got 27 points with this offense that they have right now, not against the Chiefs defense. Zach Moss is not running for more than 75 yards against Kansas City. Jamar Chase might get his yards. Is there any other wide receiver on that team you think gets 50 yards against Kansas City? Because I don't think this Andre, I don't even know how to pronounce the man's name. Isavis, how do you pronounce his name? I never heard of this man before.
I literally look at the depth chart. Good luck pronouncing it. That's my guess to you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it right now. It's Jamar Chase, Trenton Irwin, Charlie Jones, Andre Isavis, Jermaine Burton. Where do you think the yards are coming from on Sunday?
I mean, it's a great question. I'm looking it up because I'm curious. As I scroll down, I mean, it hasn't been like T. Higgins has been dominant against Kansas City. In their 3 regular season matchups that T. Higgins has played in, he only has 7 catches for 116. So, I mean, it's not bad. That's basically yards per game. T. Higgins is a 39 yards a game guy against the Chiefs. And the Bengals have done really well against the Chiefs. So to answer your question, how do the Bengals beat the Chiefs? Jamar Chase is cooking. And I'm not talking like he has, a nice day. Like, I'm talking like he makes Isaiah Likely's day look like, oh, that's in the rearview mirror. He's having one of those days. Remember the first game they played where he was basically unguardable the entire game? If he does that, the Bengals can win. That's a Herculean ask because you got to figure Trent McDuffie's on him, but usually it's been Ward or Snead on Chase. This is a different ball game. That's their path.
Text line 913-586-7965. Hey, CDOT, the Chiefs lost to the Raiders last year on Christmas Day. They can easily get beat by the Bengals on Sunday. That's kind of my point. Again, there's 3 categories of teams in the National Football League. There are some teams that are embarrassing to lose to. I don't think losing to the Bengals is embarrassing. They're not the Panthers, right? There is a team that I would put them in then there's a next tier they could lose to. Yes, if you tell me that the Chiefs go out and they turn the ball over 3 times and they just play really poorly in this game because Cincinnati beat them. But the fact that we are using the Raiders on Christmas Day as the example now for Cincinnati tells me where we think Cincinnati is right now. Houston, our perception is, doesn't need all that to beat Kansas City. They got a good quarterback. They got good offense. They got good pieces. They got a capable defense. Houston could beat Kansas City 27-24. San Francisco could beat Kansas City 27-24. They just took them to the overtime in the Super Bowl. Detroit could beat Kansas City. The fact that we now think, and it's just 1 week, the fact that we're putting, hey, you saw what happened on Christmas against the Raiders, that speaks to the fall of grace that we think Cincinnati has had. Sure, it's the National Football League. I'm not telling you Kansas City's going to win 34-0 in this game. It's the NFL. These 2 teams play close games. But we used to talk about Cincinnati like they were Baltimore. Baltimore had a chance to win that game. That drive goes a little bit different. They had a chance to outright beat Kansas City. Kansas City played well. Patrick Mahomes played well. Rice played well. Baltimore had a chance late, 4 minutes to go down the field and beat Kansas City. It's not like Kansas City played poorly, didn't turn the ball over a bunch, didn't play sloppy. they had a chance to beat them. Is Cincinnati still one of those teams in that Lions, Baltimore, Buffalo category that you think they could stand toe-to-toe in the middle of the ring and trade punches with Kansas City? Because I think all of those other teams can. I'm honestly not really sure if Cincinnati is still one of those kind of teams. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
So we may have switched things over from 610 Sports Radio to 96.5 The Fan, but we had to bring all of our friends with us. It's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here telling you about our friends at Window World, the official window of the Kansas City Chiefs. Be sure to pick up the phone, 816-799-0820. That's 816-799-0820. Or check out the website, windowskansascity.com. And when you call Window World, be sure to mention that you heard this on The Drive, and you'll be entered into a drawing for 4 Chiefs tickets during the upcoming season. You know the Chiefs got some big games, and you're going to want to be there. Right now, they're offering 36 months same-as-cash financing with approved credit. And what I like is, apart from major holidays, you can speak to someone from the customer service department 7 days a week if you give them a call. The competition is unavailable on the weekend to help you with service questions or warranty questions, but Window World has staff available all weekend long. So pick up the phone, 816-799-0820. Call for a free home estimate. Call to be entered into a drawing for 4 Chiefs tickets. Remember, Window World, simply the best for less, and the official window of your Kansas City Chiefs.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Every business faces challenges, but complicated, expensive, and uncertain shipping shouldn't be one of them.
With USPS Ground Advantage from the United States Postal Service, you can avoid all the noise.
No more unexpected surcharges, hidden fees, or complex rate structures.
It's just easy, cost-effective, and dependable shipping. Tune your business's frequency to success and turn shipping to your advantage. Learn how at USPS.com/advantage. USPS Ground Advantage. Simple, affordable, reliable.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise, there's Grainger. Grainger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, it's Derek Johnson, and I know there's nothing better than being part of a team. A group of great people you can count on and learn from. The Sheet Metalworkers, local number 2, are growing their team and looking for quality men and women who want to build Kansas City's future. While you're making KC a better place, you'll also get great pay and benefits while gaining lifelong skills. Explore the possibilities at sheetmetal2.org. That's sheetmetal2.org. And take a step towards a fulfilling and rewarding way of life.
Danan Hughes here to talk about low T. Low testosterone causes a host of problems. These include low sex drive, bad sleep patterns, unproductive workouts, decreased energy, brain fog, and more. If you're feeling like this, it's time for you to treat that low T and change your life. Highland Men's Health are experts in treating low testosterone and other men's sexual health conditions. They've successfully treated many men for low T, and men have seen the amazing difference that those treatments can make in their life. Within just a few weeks, you'll feel your energy return, the brain fog will go away, your sleep will improve, as will your workout, and your sex drive will be significantly enhanced as well. Contact Harlan Men's Health today. They have 3 locations to serve you: Overland Park, Kansas, Independence, Missouri, between Blue Springs and Lee Summit, and their new office in North Kansas City. Contact them today at 844-447-6600 or visit harlanmenshealth.com.
Many of us are looking forward to retirement, but when it's time to tap into your savings, do you know how long your money will last? Make a game plan for your retirement income distribution from UMB Private Wealth. They'll create a custom strategy for you to help make your hard-earned retirement savings last. Just go to umb.com/private wealth to schedule your personal appointment. That's umb.com/private wealth.
Hey, football fans, it's Brian Baldinger with It's Your Journey, presented by Hyundai's family of EVs, the most electric EV lineup. Pittsburgh had to call a last-minute audible against Atlanta this week and send in their young quarterback, too, into action after the veteran starter was a late scratch. Well, they escaped Atlanta with a win. It didn't go as they would have hoped. The offense didn't score a touchdown, but was bolstered by their elite defensive unit. While they started their journey with a win, big questions still loom in Steel City. It's Your Journey, brought to you by the all-new Hyundai 2024 Santa Fe, equipped for adventure.
Wake up. Breakfast. And Nature Made vitamins. Whatever your morning sounds like, Nature Made fits right in. Whether you're looking for vitamin C or a multivitamin to get key nutrients, we've got you covered. Now that's a good morning. We take care of you so you can take on your day. Start your day with Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Got a stalled car, northbound 35, the on-ramp from Broadway. That is stopping traffic. And the right lane closed for eastbound 70 stalled car just past 40 Highway. Still dealing with that vehicle fire, the remnants of it, northbound 35 just past 87th Street, still closing the right lane, and a car crash at eastbound 435 at the on-ramp from Lackman. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison, weekdays 2 to 6 on 96.5 The Fan.
I want to read one thing to you guys and we can move forward. C-Dot, I think you're being a little shock jock radio. It's way too early to say the Bengals aren't the same anymore. It's been 1 week. Okay, that's fair. Can we just take a quick journey back? The Bengals beat the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game in January of 2022, right? I want to read to you the offensive weapons that they had. And then I want to read to you the offensive weapons that played in their most recent game against the New England Patriots. So in that game, Rob, Joe Mixon was their leading rusher. He had 88 yards rushing. These were their top 5 receivers: T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Samaje Perine, Joe Mixon, and Tyler Boyd. It's a pretty decent crop of offensive players, right? It's pretty decent. Going to read to you who their top receivers and running backs were in week 1 last week. Zach Moss was their leading rusher, and Chase Brown. He had 3 carries for 11 yards. These were their top 5 receivers on Sunday. Jamar Chase had 6 catches for 62 yards. Andre, how do you pronounce this man's name? The text line tried to explain it to me. Yesevich, how do you pronounce his name?
I'm reading what the text line said. Yoshivas?
So Andre Yosevas, he was their second leading receiver. He had 3 catches for 26 yards. Tanner Hudson had 2 catches for 18 yards. Mike Gesicki had 3 catches for 18 yards and 2 catches for 17 yards. Now, I understand it's 1 week with the Bengals. We need to see. I would just ask the question. I can go through the guys that caught passes last week for the Ravens. The Bengals' talent seems very much off than that to me. We can go to Houston's talent and the guys that they got running the ball and the guys that they got catching passes. We agree. Houston has more than what Cincinnati has. We can go to San Francisco. We can go to the Lions. Now, maybe I was just off on Cincinnati from the beginning and I am having this team might be in trouble. Rob tried to tell me all offseason something was up with Cincinnati. I watched a lot of that game on Sunday. I'm trying to figure out who the offense is coming from. I don't know who's catching passes. If you think that Trent McDuffie's going to be on Jamar Chase for a majority of the time, which I imagine many of you do, and they're going to do a decent job against Jamar Chase, who else gets the yards on this Bengals team? Who else gets the yards? Is Andre Yesevich, whatever his name is?
Yoshivas.
Is he having 4 catches for 75 yards on this team? Is Tanner Hudson having 5 catches for 65 yards on this team?
To be fair, playing devil's advocate, would you have had Isaiah Likely at 100+? Now, he's more name and has more of a track record than those guys you mentioned other than Jamar Chase, but I don't think last Wednesday or Thursday when we were talking Ravens and Chiefs, any of us had Isaiah Likely just flambang the Chiefs defense. Like, sometimes people you can't name do have games. Now, Isaiah Likely's better than these players, or at least there's more track record, but it could happen because I've seen a tight end 2 flambe the Chiefs.
I don't hear no dogs on that team. Are you beating this Chiefs team with no dogs? Text line saying I'm overreacting. C-Dot, it sounds like I'm listening to Fesco. I'm thinking the same thing. You're overreacting. We've seen the Chiefs defense now for a year and a half. Tell me how Cincinnati is moving the ball against Kansas City's defense. And tell me with who. Because we can go through the guys who have helped cook the Chiefs over the last couple of years and the guys that I've seen them shut down. And Tanner Hudson, he ain't having 65 yards against Kansas City's defense. Mike Gesicki is not having a great day against Kansas City's defense. I don't really see a scenario in which Cincinnati scores more than 21 points against Kansas City. I think their only chance to win is like 21-17. They force a couple of turnovers. They play good defense. I think that's their chance. I also take a note of, for two teams that have played really, really closely, the fact that Vegas has the Chiefs as such big favorites for teams that usually are play at a coin flip. And usually, I mean, Cincinnati's 4-1 in the regular season against this team. If Vegas was really high on Cincinnati, and maybe it's an overreaction to what they did last week, this game feels like it should be Chiefs -3.5, Chiefs -4, where they're only favored because they're at home. Them being a 6.5 point favorite tells you they'd be favored in this game anywhere. They'd be favored if it was a neutral site. They'd be favored in Cincinnati right now. Vegas is telling you they think the Chiefs are much better than where Cincinnati is right now. I'm a big believer of sometimes like when you play teams. I think this is the perfect time to play Cincinnati. They might not be this team in week 8 or week 9. You get Higgins back. You figure out the run game a little bit. Jamar Chase gets in the flow of this thing. I don't know if there's a better time to play Cincinnati than right now. Joe Burrow seems like he's not himself. Jamar Chase just started practicing with this team 10 days ago. T. Higgins isn't playing in that team, and they don't really have another defined option on their offense.
They definitely are lacking in playmakers, but we haven't seen it this year, but we've seen it in the history of the NFL. If Joe Burrow gets back to being Joe Burrow, he can make plumbers and insurance salesmen look good. I mean, we'll talk about it probably in the 5 o'clock hour, but the Bills played the Dolphins tonight. You all offseason, now it's one game, same one game sample size. You all offseason told me Josh Allen has no weapons. They're in big trouble. They scored, 30 in their win? It's the Cardinals, but that's a salty Cardinals bunch. That's a Cardinals team that is going to win some football games this year. That's not the Cardinals team I've seen in the past. It's not some pushover. And he was throwing to – he didn't even throw to Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah,
the
he
one
was
guy,
a non-factor.
He was throwing to the MVS group. So if Joe Burrow is, hey, I just needed a week to knock off the rust, and he looks back like Joe Burrow, like we've talked about today, good quarterbacks can make mediocre weapons a problem.
I think it's also, I guess, to note, and kind of why we're having the conversation about Burrow, is Josh Allen is still a weapon himself. Josh Allen had 2 rushing touchdowns. Like, you have one of the best short yardage goal line backs in the National Football League. And then you got a capable run game with James Cook, Keon Coleman. He was actually one of the few rookies that actually played well this past week, at least outside of Xavier Worthy. Josh Allen is still a weapon. He's still a guy he threw for 232 yards. I mean, Josh Allen accounted for 4 touchdowns. Josh Allen is, I think, firmly put himself in, I am the second best quarterback in the National Football League. If Patrick Mahomes didn't exist, it would be my league. The only problem is that guy exists. He had 4 touchdowns. In a week in which quarterbacks didn't really put up a lot of big numbers, Josh Allen put up big numbers. Threw for 2 touchdowns, ran for 2 touchdowns, didn't throw an interception in the game. This was a really good Josh Allen game, and you and I agree. If Buffalo gets good Josh Allen, they are just going to win. You get that Josh Allen that does a little bit of everything. I'm going to throw it. I'm not going to make mistakes in the pass game, and I'm going to run the football effectively at the goal line. There aren't a lot of teams in the National Football League that are beating Buffalo. I actually think Arizona played well for the most part. I mean, they scored 28 points. Buffalo just scored 34 at home and took care of business. They had a big special teams play.
That's true. I was just stating, and now Josh Allen is clearly the second best quarterback in the NFL, so it's not the exact same. But We've seen elite quarterback play can elevate mediocre weapons. Hell, Patrick Mahomes' last Super Bowl was elite quarterback play elevates mediocre weapons. The time they beat the Bengals in the AFC title game was elite quarterback play elevates mediocre weapons. I mean, he beat the Bengals when Marcus Kemp was out there running routes, and Kadarius Toney, who was, I think, maybe hurt in the game, but out there or not out there, Kadarius Toney was still a detriment. So, like, I could see a path if Joe Burrow is going to look like Joe Burrow again, but there is no evidence that's happening, and if that's not happening, I don't know the weaponry exists, but we haven't talked about it, and we will probably today or tomorrow. That Bengals defense has done a very good job historically against Patrick Mahomes. They give Mahomes fits. So if the path to win is defense and protect the football, the defense does give Patrick Mahomes issues.
Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll continue to talk about week 2 between the Chiefs and the Bengals. Everybody has been weighing in on Joe Burrow. We'll also talk about the Royals. They have an off day today. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
That stalled car, northbound 35, the on-ramp from Broadway. That is stopping traffic. And the right lane closed for eastbound 70 stalled car just past 40 Highway. Still dealing with that vehicle fire, the remnants of it, northbound 35 just past 87th Street, still closing the right lane, and a car crash at eastbound 435 at the on-ramp from Lackman. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Having unexpected car trouble or just in a car accident? You need Jay's Southland Tow Service. They have over 20 years of experience servicing the KC Metro. They specialize in light, medium, and heavy duty, as well as commercial transport and construction equipment. Keep this number handy, 816-779-4869 or southlandtow.com. Use the tow service trusted by most local police departments, Jay's Southland Tow Service. There's nothing they can't do, so be in the know and use Jay's Southland Tow.
Right now at Wendy's, you can get a small Frosty for $1. And literally everyone is going. The car behind you, going to get a $1 Frosty. The car ahead of you, already had one, going for a second. The person who cut you off earlier, you guessed it, $1 Frosty. Maybe it's all a sign for you to go get one. Just don't cut anyone off. No one likes that person. The iconic Frosty for $1, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Not valid in a combo. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, California, and via third-party delivery.
The only thing more satisfying than a crisp fall day is a crisp fall day inside your cozy, spotless home. Right now, shop Labor Day savings on select cleaning essentials and exclusive brands from the Home Depot. Plus, with fast free delivery, you don't have to worry about running out of your favorite cleaners, paper products, trash bags, and more. The Home Depot has everything you need to get ready for a fall refresh. Get your home crisp, clean, and ready for the season with the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Free delivery on over 2 million items subject to availability.
You could be on the 50 at GEHA Field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Enter to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs.
This report is brought to you by Flying H Drag Strip. Drag racing is back in Kansas City. FlyingHDragStrip.com.
Kansas City, drag racing is back. Don't miss the Fall Smackdown, September 19th through 21st at Flying H Drag Strip. For tickets and info, visit FlyingHDragStrip.com. The real horsepower hangout.
Century Roofing would like to thank you, KC, for voting us the best roofing company in Johnson County for the 3rd year in a row. To celebrate, we are extending our free material upgrade sale on all roof replacements. Get a Class 3 or 4 impact-resistant shingle for the same price as the standard 30-year or premium shingle. Save on your insurance premium and increase the value of your home. Trust the pillars of strength with KC-based and female-owned. Century Roofing, your hometown roofing team. CenturyRoofingKC.com.
Century Roofing, trust the pillars of strength.
Are you in need of top-quality metal for your next project? Look no further than Metal by the Foot. Whether you're a DIY enthusiast, contractor, or business owner, Metal by the Foot has the perfect solution for you. Steel, aluminum, brass, and stainless. The Foot. Blue Demon Welding Supplies, filler rods, and wire. The Foot. Bronius Professional Welding Equipment, Service and Repairs. The Foot. Located in KC and Topeka. Online at metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the Foot.
Brought to you by Blue KC is the Coaches with Character program. Do you know a rock star high school coach in your district? Nominate them for the Blue KC Coaches with Character program at bluekc.com/nominate coaches with character. Let's make our coaches feel special and make our community a better place to live, work, and play.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights, open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
Right now at Wendy's, you can get a small Frosty for $1. And literally everyone is going. The car behind you, going to get a $1 Frosty. The car ahead of you, already had one, going for a second. The person who cut you off earlier, you guessed it, $1 Frosty. Maybe it's all a sign for you to go get one. Just don't cut anyone off. No one likes that person. The iconic Frosty for $1, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Not valid in a combo. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, California, and via third-party delivery.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights, open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
Tune in to Vern's On Deck Show 1 hour before first pitch on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Congratulations on getting through your 9 to 5. Thank you so much for listening. It is The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. We've been talking a lot of football today. We'll talk some baseball as well. I also want you guys to hear from a couple of different national voices, as I think Joe Burrow right now is the number one story in the National Football League. That loss, how he played, who they lost to. I think we'd be talking a lot about Aaron Rodgers, but he went on the road, first game back from an Achilles, and played poorly at San Francisco. Same thing for Kirk Cousins. When you lose at home against the New England Patriots, you're going to start a lot of conversation. We'll play that here coming up in a bit, Rob. But you know what? Let's get to the hits, and let's actually start today with the Kansas City Royals. They have an off day.
It's 5 o'clock. And your wife has tuna casserole ready for you at home. Might as well get caught up on the biggest stories of the day in Kansas City with C-Dot and Rob. This is The Hits. Number 1.
Well, Carrington, as you mentioned, the top of the day in Kansas City is the Kansas City Royals. Even though they lost yesterday to the New York Yankees, they remain firmly in the playoffs. They were to start today with 15 some odd games to play. They are, in fact, a playoff team, but as we inch closer and closer toward playoff time here in Kansas City, as we begin our Blue October, Carrington, who is the team that you as a Royals fan would like to see them face? Because in the Riptide, as Vern used to call it, we saw them take on the Astros. We saw them take on the Yankees. It went relatively poorly. We have not seen them take on the Orioles in quite some time. Is that who you would like to see the Royals face in a wild card round if it were to break that way?
You can fade the music down a little bit. Let's talk about the Royals, and we'll get back to football here coming up in a bit. If you take a look at the standings, I know in theory it is still possible for the Royals to catch the Cleveland Guardians. In my opinion, they had their opportunity to catch the Cleveland Guardians, and they lost it. On August 27th, the Royals and the Guardians were tied, and heading in late into the game, the Royals had the lead. They had their opportunity to get Cleveland. If you were going to get them, that was the time to get them. You've seen a basketball game before, Rob, where it's at some point you have to take the lead. You can keep cutting it down to one possession, but eventually you got to get a stop, you got to make a bucket, and you got to take the lead at some point. The Guardians have either been tied or ahead of the Royals now for 4 months. So, sure, it is mathematically possible for the Royals to catch the Cleveland Guardians. I'm not here telling you, man, this thing's done, pack it in. No, it's not done. But Cleveland has 84 wins. The Royals have 80 wins. how many wins do the Royals need to finish with in order to win the division? If you were saying that the Royals have to get red hot in the next 3 weeks while Cleveland also gets ice cold, we're talking about a very, very small percentage. So I'm not here to discourage anybody and tell you to give up on the American League Central, but the math to me is just not in the Royals' favor anymore. I don't want to play the Yankees in a wild card series where you got to go to Yankee Stadium to play 3 games. I don't have any interest in playing the Houston Astros, who have been the best team in the American League basically since Eric Hosmer left Kansas City. They have been the best team in the American League. That's not the team that I'm super interested in. I would love to play Baltimore. I know what the standings say. Baltimore's only a game and a half back of the Yankees. Baltimore is a completely different team in the second half of the season. Baltimore in the first half of the season was 58-38. In the second half of the season, they have been 25-26. That's a team you can beat. In a 3-game series, I have absolutely no fear going up against the Baltimore Orioles. I don't like the Royals' chances if you got to go to Yankee Stadium for 3. I don't like their chances if you got to go play the Astros. I love their chances if in the wild card round they either are playing Baltimore or hosting Baltimore. That's just not the same team that it was. They had a run differential of 80 in the first half of the season. They have a run differential of 4 in the second half of the season. They have some injuries at some key spots. They're having some issues here down the stretch. I don't look at Baltimore in the same way that I look at the Yankees and the Astros. I think heading into the postseason, the Yankees have to be considered the favorite, and I would say Houston. Then I would put Cleveland, and then it's your guess on how you would rank the American League. I don't look at Baltimore at the same level as I look at those other 2 teams. They were the best team in the American League last year in the playoffs. They got bounced early. They're now fading down the stretch. We say it's a marathon, not a sprint. You also got to finish the marathon strong, and that's not what Baltimore is doing.
Number 2.
Well, Carrington, pivoting back to football, let's talk a little bit about Thursday night football. A big one tonight is 2 former playoff teams were in action tonight on Amazon Prime. It is Bills and Dolphins. Carrington, last year you were outspoken, you were loud, you were the leader of the brigade when it came to saying the Dolphins are fake. They have not beat anyone. Tua is just smoke and mirrors. He has not beat anyone. New year, new Carrington, or do you still think the Dolphins are major fraud alert?
The Dolphins haven't beat a team that you think can win the Super Bowl in almost 2 years. I can give you their last 10 wins. I'll give you the quarterbacks. Mac Jones, Russell Wilson, Daniel Jones, Bryce Young, Mac Jones, Zach Wilson, Aiden O'Connell, Zach Wilson again, Dak Prescott, and Trevor Lawrence. If you're telling me the best team you've beat in the last year and a half is the Dallas Cowboys, okay. We can go back. Honestly, it has been almost 2 years. We were talking about this earlier, and you said, oh, you remember that time they beat Buffalo? That was in 2022 they beat Buffalo. They played Buffalo 2 times last year. They got blown out the first time, and then it was a win the division or go to Kansas City game. And they lost 21-14 at home and had to go in the frigid cold, and we know what happened in that game against Kansas City. I do not trust Miami. I don't like Miami. I think they're one of the most overrated and overvalued teams in the National Football League. I know Vegas has them as a slight favorite today. You can take Miami if you want. I'm taking Buffalo plus the points. If you're going to give me Buffalo as a dog and Josh Allen is 11-4 against Miami and Tua is 1-6 against Josh Allen, okay, you can have them.
You're starting to come around on my side about the Bills? Because this offseason, I was in on the Bills, and you were saying, no, there's no weapons, Rob. Where are the weapons? MVS stinks. He does.
He does.
Who's he going to throw to? And I was like, he's Josh Allen. He'll be fine. Are you starting to come around? Because if you have the Bills tonight, you have them starting 2-0 and likely leading their division.
I mean, I picked them to win their division. I like Buffalo more than I like the other teams in their division. I don't like Miami. The Jets, I think, have a bad defense. They have an overrated defense. Bad is strong. They have an overrated defense and a 40-year-old quarterback coming off an Achilles tear. So I've never been a Jets believer. And the Patriots are not winning the division. So, yes, I like Buffalo more than I like the other teams. But you beating Arizona and Miami is not telling me that you're a Super Bowl contending team.
3.
Well, Carrington, as much as the Royals have been good and Thursday Night Football is back, the biggest story in Kansas City in the fall is the Kansas City Chiefs, and they have a mega matchup Sunday with the Cincinnati Bengals, who have been a thorn in the Chiefs' side. Earlier today, Mo Edgar of 1530 in Cincinnati was on the show, and he says it's not just a thorn. The Bengals and the Chiefs are straight-up rivals.
I think it's become the best organic rivalry in the NFL, where, you know, it's not based on, you know, being division foes. It's not based on geography. It's not based on, you know, some sort of long-time history. It's based on a lot of really good games, a lot of really high-stakes games. And I think, as much as I don't think these two teams really like each other, I do think there's a ton of mutual respect. And so I don't care who you root for. I think if you're an NFL fan, you've had this one circled since the schedule came out.
Carrington, you ruffled some feathers yesterday when you had your list of the Chiefs' biggest rivals. You also had the Bengals at 1. Any backtracking, or do you believe, yes, the Cincinnati Bengals are the Chiefs' biggest rival in the National Football League?
No, you can fade the music down just a little bit. Let me give you the top 5 teams that I think are the rivals to the Chiefs again, and then I want to play some audio for you guys. I would rank it Raiders 5, Chargers 4, Bills 3, Ravens 2, Bengals 1. If you want to swap out the Ravens and the Bills, I'm not going to fight you too hard on that, but I think this is the list. I think the rivalry between the Bengals and the Chiefs just stems from the fact of it feels a lot like the Patriots and Colts used to feel, that usually when these two teams play each other, it really means something. Now, this is early on in the season, but we gave you guys the stat yesterday. Over the last couple of years, since they have expanded the playoffs to 14 teams, there have been 33 teams that have started the year 0-2. Only 2 of those teams have made the postseason. So Cincinnati is one of those teams, so you can't completely count them out, especially because they play Washington and Carolina in weeks 3 or 4. So this team could easily be 2-2 heading into a week 5 matchup against the Baltimore Ravens. But the math tells you and history tells you you really need to win this game. So on one side, I think the Chiefs are going to show up. And if there's one team that I know they are not going to overlook, that I know they are not going to play down to, and they're not going to read too much into week 1, it is going to be against the Cincinnati Bengals. That same thing also works on the flip side. If there is any team that you need to kind of get back right, if you need an example, if you're Zach Taylor, you can lose to anybody. It is losing at home and only scoring 10 points to the New England Patriots. And now you guys got to refocus and regroup, or we're going to be staring down the barrel of 0-2 at the hands of the Kansas City Chiefs. Cody brought this to my attention, and I agree with him. You can kind of eliminate Cincinnati from the 1 seed conversations. If you were telling me, even though it's 2 weeks, Kansas City is going to have a 2-game lead against Cincinnati and also have the tiebreaker. So Cincinnati needs to be 3 games better than Kansas City down the stretch in order for them to have a higher seed placement than Kansas City. You can kind of eliminate that conversation. I don't see Kansas City taking a massive step back this year, and Cincinnati would just have to get red hot in the final 15 weeks of the season in order for them to be 3 games better than what I think Kansas City is going to be. So you got a chance to really do some damage to one of the key rivals and contenders in the AFC. Let me play a couple of different things on why I think the Bengals are the Chiefs' #1 rival. So this is Cameron Taylor-Britt. He is the #1 corner for the Cincinnati Bengals. He was asked about Xavier Worthy. Xavier Worthy scored 2 touchdowns last week. He was one of the best rookies in the National Football League. He was asked, how do you stop Xavier Worthy? Here was his answer.
That's about it. He can run straight. Run jet sweeps and just run straight. He can't do too much else, so that's about it. Feel like you put your hands on him. He's only 100-something pounds. So if you put hands on him, you'll stop the speed. So basically get hands on him.
That man just called Xavier Worthy a gadget player. I mean, that's what he said. If you're telling me that he's a small, wiry, fast guy who can't really run routes and can only run fast in straight lines, that's what you just called him. If I'm Xavier Worthy, that would upset me. I dominated at Texas, and in my first NFL game, I touched the ball 3 times and I scored twice. And you're telling me I'm a gadget player. I can't do anything other than run fast. every time they play these guys, it's just yapping is what it is. I think it's fun. I like the back and forth between the two teams. It makes it entertaining to discuss over the course of the week. But boy, over the course of the last couple of years, that side and the Chiefs have done a little bit of talking, but their talking has been like a 3 or a 4. The talking from the Cincinnati side has been at a 10 for basically the last 3 or 4 matchups.
Good afternoon, Cincinnati. I have a proclamation from the desk of the mayor. Be it proclaimed, whereas the Cincinnati Bengals are headed to Burrow Stadium for their second consecutive AFC Championship game. Whereas at last year's game, the Bengals scored more points than the Chiefs, resulting in a Bengals victory and a Chiefs loss. Whereas Joseph Lee Burrow, who's 3-0 against Mahomes, has been asked by officials to take a paternity test confirming whether or not he's his father. Whereas all season long, Cincinnati has been on a path of destiny, fighting it out to overcome anyone who stands between them and a Super Bowl win. And whereas Kansas City is named after its neighboring state, which is, just kind of weird. Now, therefore, I, Aftab Purval, Mayor of the City of Cincinnati, do hereby proclaim January 29th, 2023 as They Gotta Play Us Day in Cincinnati. Thank you.
That was the mayor of Cincinnati. That was just last year when this happened. It feels like a lot has happened since that was on January 27th of 2023. So it wasn't like it was that long ago that the mayor of Cincinnati said all of these things in direction towards the Kansas City Chiefs. It is just something about this rivalry that it brings the best out of both sides. I think the teams have a lot of respect for one another. Like when Jamar Chase did the NFL top 10 and was asked who the best player is, I think he knows who the best player is. But it's the gamesmanship. It's the back and forth. No, I'm not going to say that guy. I don't like him. That's when sports are usually at its best. When one side doesn't like the other side. When North Carolina is playing Duke. When Auburn is playing Alabama. When Michigan is playing Ohio State. I do not like them. Remember when San Francisco against Seattle, those would be tightly contested games, Ravens and Steelers. Usually great football games. At the core of it, at the foundation is I do not like the other side. Every time you put a microphone in front of Jamar Chase's face, and this is from earlier today, he lets you know I do not like the Chiefs.
Yeah, the energy's there, both sides. I'm sure they know we don't like them. They know they don't like us. So I mean, the energy's already there. It's not really much we got to say now to this point. It's been 4 years now, so everyone gets it.
The chirping and the talking, does that make it more fun for you?
In the game, yeah. You know what I'm saying? When the media come, y'all just blow it up and then make some stuff out of it. But I'll just wait till the game come now. I'm smarter than that now. I'm 4 years in.
Well, good for you, Jamar Chase. I'm happy that you have learned a little bit through that.
I mean,
I like the talking.
Has he? I've learned not to talk in the media. As he tells the media, I don't like the Chiefs. I mean, come on now.
I mean, the last time he called that man tuna in a can, that was PG compared to what he said a couple years ago. What he said about Justin Reed, calling that man tuna in a can was crazy. Then after the game, he was trying to fight L'Jarius Sneed. There was a lot going on. There was a whole lot going on. So I'm excited for the game. I'm excited to see Kansas City's offense again. It looked like they had their pop and sizzle back. I'm also excited to see Cincinnati. Like, just on the text line, it is kind of funny. A couple of weeks ago when I was kind of high on Cincinnati, you guys were telling me to calm down. Now it's like, I don't know, man. They got a lot of problems. It's like, it was 1 week. All right, I don't know what stance you guys want me to have on the Cincinnati Bengals, but it is hard. They had the worst performance of any team in the National Football League. None of us thought Carolina was going to be good. So Carolina getting blown out by the New Orleans Saints, they were the worst team last year in the league. They look like the worst team in the league to start this season. Like, nothing has changed in Carolina. Cincinnati had the worst performance of any team in the National Football League. It was not close, in my opinion. They scored 10 points against the New England Patriots. Their quarterback threw for less than 200 yards. It was bad. It was really bad. They just got beat. They just got beat on almost any level by the New England Patriots. And now you go in a situation, I don't want to call this a must-win for Cincinnati. I don't think that is a must-win. But one of your games that was a gimme, you lost one of those games. You kind of got to make that up somewhere. And if you're Cincinnati and you lost the game to New England, I mean, this month, you have New England on the road against Kansas City on Sunday, Washington, and Carolina. That was a stretch that you were expecting to come out of it 3-1. Now, maybe you steal this game on the road against Kansas City and you make it back. You make back the loss you had against New England. But going into a division that we know is going to be tough and tightly contested, Cleveland's got a good defense. Pittsburgh's got a good defense. Baltimore is one of the better teams in the league. Man, losing games like New England at home, that's big. That's the difference in winning your division and being a wild card team. That's the difference of playing Kansas City on the road in the frigid cold like Miami and hosting a home game like Miami. I know we say, oh, it's only one game in the NFL. Man, that stuff matters if you're talking about teams that you think are going to win 11 or 12 games, compete for a championship, and the differences in you being at home or on the road or creating an easier path for yourself. That's one of the worst losses we'll see from any team in the National Football League if Cincinnati ends up being good this year. If they end up being a 12-5 team, we're going to look back and think, man, week one, how in the world did they lose to the New England Patriots? Or if this team doesn't turn things around and they have a mediocre year and they're 8-9 this year or barely above 500, we're going to say, oh, well, the writing was on the wall. It was very obvious in week one, and we just ignored all of the signs.
What's weird is, and they always start 0-1. It's like the sun rising. You know what's going to happen. But this was supposed to be the year, if you talk to fans of the Bengals, that it was supposed to not happen. Like, what's that stat we had earlier? Zach Taylor is 1-9 in weeks 1 and 2 going into this week.
1-8, yeah.
That's insane. That's horrible. But this year is supposed to be different. They had the Patriots at home, and even though Joe Burrow was coming off an injury, and you had Jamar Chase with contractitis, and T. Higgins was battling an injury, this was the game to a little bit knock the rust off, get right, get a dub, get some of those week 1, week 2 scaries, for lack of a better term, behind you, and then you have a mega matchup with the Chiefs. It's Nance, it's Romo, here we go. But lo and behold, here we are again with a Zach Taylor coach Bengals team underperforming in week 1, and now week 2 is a big matchup for not just the AFC, but all the things that you talked about. Remember the year, I believe it was the year the Chiefs hosted Cincinnati in the AFC title game. The Bengals started slow that year. If the Bengals had started fast that year, maybe that game in Kansas City is in Cincinnati. Maybe it's different if that game's in Cincinnati. Remember, they won on a game-winning field goal. Like, it could be different, but they're always 0-1. They're always 0-2. And I remember we talked about this summer. It's possible the Chiefs could have a massive leg up in the 1-seed race by week 3, and it's shaping up that way if the Bengals turn out to be the team we think the Bengals can be.
Yeah, 100%. And I think at least for me, and maybe where my energy is directed towards Cincinnati, is most of the teams that I thought was going to be good this season, they either played well or won. Like Baltimore, I think, is going to make the playoffs this year. Baltimore didn't win, but Baltimore went on the road against Kansas City and had a chance to win that game. Somebody had to leave Kansas City 1-0, and it just happened to be Baltimore. Man, of all the teams that I kind of thought was going to be good this year, they by far and away had the worst performance of any of them. And there is a difference to me in losing. The Rams lost. The Rams went on the road, lost in overtime to the Detroit Lions. Again, somebody has to lose. 16 teams are going to start 1-0. 16 teams are going to start 0-1. There is a difference to me in losing and laying an egg. And the amount of teams that we think laid an egg in week 1, that's a small number of teams. Cincinnati is on that list. Cincinnati laid an egg. I would say Atlanta laid an egg. The Panthers laid an egg. There weren't a lot of teams that you thought just really went out there and just played poorly in week 1 like the Giants did. That's the category that Cincinnati is. They had one of the worst performances in week 1 of the entire league. And that's why I think the conversation about them is so heightened this week. If they had lost the way the Rams had lost, not a big deal. If they had lost to a team that we have respect for, think is going to be good. No, like they lost to a bad team, a team that we perceive to be a bad team at home week 1. And I guess one of my issues with Cincinnati is, as somebody that picked them in the beginning of the season, is I look at the rest of the AFC and I've seen teams that have evolved. Kansas City is different over the course of the last couple of seasons. Houston is different over the course of the last couple of seasons. We are seeing a new version of Buffalo now without Stephon Diggs. They still scored 34 points in week 1. The same problems that you thought Cincinnati had in 2022, they have those exact same problems right now. The same problems that you thought they had in 2021, they have those exact same problems right now. They feel very stagnant in a lot of ways, or running in place, where the AFC kind of has some new energy. The Colts look like they could be an exciting team this year. Houston's one of those teams. We're waiting to see if the Jets can develop and be a good team this year. The Bengals just feel kind of last year in some ways, and I just wasn't expecting that from them in week 1 of the season. Coming up on the other side, almost everybody has been weighing in on the Bengals quarterback. We'll play some of the best reactions. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Kansas football fans, picture this. You bet on your favorite player to score the first touchdown, and he throws an awesome block so his teammate can score instead. If this happens, MGM wants to give you another chance at the end zone. With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first touchdown scorer scores second instead. That's right. Bet on any pro football player to score the first touchdown of the game. If you're right, you win. If your player scores second, you get your stake back in cash. Everyone knows the most exciting part of football is the score. With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you have a chance to keep the fun going after the first player crosses the goal line. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only, Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
You've been waiting, and now is the time. Golden Oak Lending has fixed mortgage rates at 4.875%. But don't wait, this rate won't last forever. Call today and take advantage of our low 4.875 fixed rate. Call 913-890-GOLD. That's 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending, cured my blues.
5.784 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
What does it mean to be the official information technology provider for the Chiefs? It means everything. Technology Group Solutions makes sure everything runs flawlessly for the millions of fans that attend games and the hundreds of millions of fans that comprise Chiefs Kingdom around the world. Technology Group Solutions can deploy that same dedication, problem solving, and incredible service to ensure your business runs smoothly. Technology Group Solutions, powering Chiefs Kingdom, and ready to do the same for you.
Our goal is to provide patients with the strongest, most effective, and safest options in this exciting field of regenerative medicine.
Dr. Mitchell Shinecup, National Medical Director at QC Kinetics.
The idea that you can avoid a joint replacement is very exciting.
And that's from a surgeon who's done thousands of joint replacements, but who now believes there's a better way.
Regenerative medicine, as we understand it today, gives lasting pain relief, improved function, without surgery, without drugs.
Under Dr. Shinekup's leadership, QC Kinetics medical professionals treat patients every day with the most advanced protocols in natural biologics. Literally tens of thousands of people all over America.
I've been doing research on regenerative medicine for 2 decades. This is the future of medicine.
Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
When people have a craving to explore new and traditional Asian cuisines, they head to P.F. Chang's, where scratch-made dishes come from the 2,000-year-old tradition of wok cooking. P.F. Chang's wanted to explore new possibilities for their website. They turned to AmericanEagle.com. AmericanEagle.com re-architected P.F. Chang's website, integrating multiple third-party systems to create a unified digital experience. The results? Improved page speed and performance, personalized content based on users' location, intuitive online ordering, an increase in organic search visibility, and a 40% increase in new users. For scratch-made Asian cuisine, visit your local P.F. Chang's or go to pfchangs.com for website design, development, digital marketing, and hosting that produce efficiency, revenue, and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. P.F. Chang's and AmericanEagle.com. Another example of the best businesses in the world, turning to the best in the business for websites. Go to AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW1. That's 877-WEB-NOW1.
This is the story of the one. As a warehouse manager, her job is to transform chaos into clarity and to see patterns where others see problems. Luckily, she's got a partner who shares her perspective. Grainger offers over 1 million industrial-grade products, backed by real-person support and in-depth online resources, so she can tackle every task with precision and turn potential setbacks into streamlined success. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Mitchell Schwartz. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings located at 152 Highway and North Flintlock Road in KC-Mo on Thursday, September 12th. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs. Enjoy responsibly. For more details, go to 965thefan.com.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Lots of slowdowns across the metro. Got a multi-car crash westbound 435 just past Quivira, closing 2 right lanes. And another collision involving multiple vehicles southbound 35 just before 119th Street. 2 left lanes closed there. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Chiefs fans, it's George Karlaftis. Welcome to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Text line 913-586-7965. C-Dot, Jamar Chase just said that the Bengals are the team to beat in the NFL. Did you see that? I'm just not really surprised. I mean, we know enough about Jamar Chase. In no circumstances did I expect Jamar Chase to say that Kansas City was the team to beat in the NFL. He won't even acknowledge who the best player in the league is. So if he's not going to say Patrick Mahomes' name, I didn't expect him to be like, man, you know what? That team that Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback for, they're better than us. I was not expecting that. Not at all. Not in any ways. That's nothing about that is in line with what I think we know about Jamar Chase. All right, I want to play 3 different audio cuts for you because I think that Joe Burrow is the number 1 story in the league with how he played, how they played. So I want to play for you 2 former NFL players that are very down on him, and Nick is on the opposite side. All right, let's start with Chris Canty. Chris Canty does mornings now at ESPN Radio, played in the league for double-digit years, good player. He is not very high right now on Joe Burrow.
Because this wrist injury is something that we don't have a lot of history with quarterbacks being able to bounce back from in the NFL. We just haven't seen it. So I am not going to believe it until I see it. And that's why sitting here today, I'm selling all the Bengals stock and I'm selling all my Joe Burrow stock.
All of it?
All of it.
Not keeping a couple of shares?
I'm not hedging. I'm telling you, man, it just something feels different about this slow start that the Bengals are getting out to as opposed to the slow starts that we've seen in the past. Now, I get it. Joe Burrow in his career is 1-8 through the first 2 games of the season.
That's just not okay, though.
That's not good.
I'm done accepting that. I got to be honest.
But that's what it is. That's what's happened.
Yeah.
The thing that makes this one a little bit different, though, is that he practiced all throughout training camp. So you practiced all throughout training camp. You had your full complement of weapons available to you. And that's the best you got? That's the best you could do against the Cincinnati Bengals? 10 points at home?
So that was Chris Canty of ESPN Radio. I am not at the point that I'm selling all my Joe Burrow stock, but I do think that we have been in a cycle of Joe Burrow either being hurt or recovering from an injury, and it has been some time since I think we've seen Joe Burrow be that guy. That Super Bowl, it was a little bit ago now in an NFL sense, and for me, the yards per attempt is the thing that I'm looking at the most. The accuracy is there, but I think he is just a lot safer with what he is doing. In the last 4 seasons, now you're counting this year, it's just 1 game, so maybe it's not fair to do that. But in 2021, his yards per attempt were 8.9. It was 7.4 in 2022. It was 6.3 last year. On Sunday, it was at 5.7. 8.9, that's an elite quarterback yards per attempt. For example, Patrick Mahomes on Thursday was 10.4. That's you pushing the ball down the field and big plays coming out of the passing game. 5.7 is like bottom 5 quarterback in the National Football League. Their offense just had no explosiveness. So if you want to get the old Joe Burrow back, you got to push the ball downfield and you got to make plays in the passing game, and that's just not what they did on Sunday against the New England Patriots. I want to play what another player had to say. This is James Jones. He also is on FS1 like Nick Wright. He also down on Joe Burrow and how he played on Sunday.
We got to start keeping it real for Joe Burrow. If Lamar Jackson throw that ball and his toe ain't out, it's a lot of ifs. If Jalen Hurts look down the middle of the field and read cover 2 and don't throw it and it ain't, it's a lot of ifs, but them dudes take a lot of heat. Joe Burrow has not been good, man, the last 2 years. And starting off this season, he ain't been good. He was 5-5 last year and then went out with an injury, all right? Then they went 4-3 without Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow without top elite wide receivers is average. He is. But we keep, no, for real though, but we keep living on the Super Bowl appearance. But we don't live on other stuff for other quarterbacks. Joe Burrow's not playing good football right now. He ain't.
I mean, there's no denying that he's not playing good football. The numbers would tell you that. I do ask this question. When was the last time that Burrow looked like him? Because the Burrow that came into Kansas City for those 2 AFC championship games, that guy was really good. The Burrow that went on the road to beat Josh Allen in a postseason game, the Joe Burrow that is 5-1 in postseason games, that guy has been really good. The last year and a half, now a lot of that is due to injury. That guy just hasn't been sharp, hasn't been explosive. He hasn't been one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the league. C.J. Stroud looks better than what Joe Burrow looks like right now. Lamar Jackson has been better than him. Brock Purdy has been better than him. Dak Prescott. There's a lot of guys who recently have played like top 5, top 10 quarterbacks. I think it's been a while since we've seen Burrow. I thought he was going to be a little bit further along in week 1 than he looked. He looked how he did for most of last season, and he never looked healthy last year, and he had a lot of the same problems that I think we saw against the Patriots. I want to play one more cut for you guys. This is Nick Wright. He was on First Things First. He is on the opposite side. He is on Joe Burrow's side.
But this idea that is being propagated online and by other talk show hosts, oh, he's been bad for 2 years, is a lie. It's nonsense. We had a conversation on this show last year going into the game he hurt his wrist. Could he win the MVP of the league? Because after the opening 4 weeks last year, once his calf got healthy, this is what he did. What he did weeks 5 through 9, he looked like the best quarterback in the league. And that was coming off a 2-year stretch where we can show you what he did. He was the 2nd best quarterback in the league. So do I think it's, when people are like, why aren't we doing this? Why are we giving Joe Burrow more margin of error than we give Lamar or we give Josh Allen at times? Because we have seen Joe Burrow win in big spots and play great in big spots that those guys haven't. We have seen Joe Burrow go into Josh Allen's house in the playoffs, outplay him when Josh laid an egg. We have seen Joe Burrow have 2 playoff runs better than any 1 playoff run Lamar has had. That's why. That is what you earn by, it is clear. Listen, am I worried about him? If his wrist is really still hurt, he will not be good.
I agree with Nick there. I do think that Burrow is owed a measure of time to figure things out, just given how good he was in 2021 and 2022. 2021 and 2022, Joe Burrow, in my opinion, was the 2nd best quarterback in the league. He had 34 touchdown passes in 2021. He had 35 touchdown passes in 2022. He was really, really good, had a quarterback rating of over 100 in both of those seasons. And last year, he was bad for most of the season, and it looked the same. And maybe this is fair or unfair in the league. It is just a simple, what have you done for me lately kind of league. Man, it wasn't that long ago Aaron Rodgers was winning NFL MVPs. He doesn't look like that guy anymore. It turned really quick for Tom Brady, where Brady was 2nd in the MVP voting and then was just bad his last season. Now, obviously, age is not the factor with Joe Burrow that it was for those other 2 quarterbacks, but injury usually is. What does 100% healthy Joe Burrow look like? It's been a while since we've seen that. He wasn't healthy at any point last season. He didn't look healthy in week 1 of the NFL season. He wasn't healthy in the Super Bowl against Cincinnati. Against the Rams. It's just been a while since we can say that we've seen him healthy. And you can make the argument for other quarterbacks. Someone on the text line says, CDOT, but Mahomes has been injured too. Yeah, but through those injuries, Mahomes has continued to play at a really high level. Like, if you're telling me last year was down Patrick Mahomes, who threw for 4,000 yards, had 27 touchdown passes, and had a 7-yard per attempt, and then played almost perfect football in the postseason, yeah, if that's what injured looks like for your quarterback, you can live with that. Injured Patrick Mahomes and how he's looked and injured Joe Burrow have looked completely different over the course of the last 18 months.
I mean, I understand the text line's point, not the Mahomes point, but the text line's point on the whole, guys, it's been 1 week. I understand that. There's a trend, but it's a concerning trend. It's an alarming trend. It's, as a football fan, something you don't want to see from what was once one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League. But let's see if he shakes out of it. If Joe Burrow looks the same way he did last week this week, they lose. If he looks like Jake Browning reincarnate this year, maybe they go 9-8 and make the playoffs, but that's not a Super Bowl team. That's not a team that rises back up to that AFC title quality. I understand it's 1 week, and I understand the text line, which has been largely pushing back on this with that point. Sample size matters, but there's a trend here. Now, does he finally feel healthy, knock the rust off, and then roar back to the Burrow of old? Possibly, but the trend is definitely alarming, and the trend reeks of a guy who might be done.
Yeah, I guess for me...
Done by Super Bowl standards, by the way.
Yeah. I guess at least for me, a lot of it with the 1 week is not just the one individual. It's sort of trusting your eyes and what you see in the game. And what I saw from Joe Burrow on Sunday was just not encouraging in any way, where it's one thing to lose. Teams lose all the time. It's how you lose and how you look in the loss. And when the sports talk host in your city is saying that you are unwilling to push the ball downfield and 16 of your first 20 throws were less than 5 yards, that's just not how you win the Super Bowl, and that's not what made you an elite quarterback. And wondering if you can get healthy and get to that point of being that elite quarterback. Coming up on the other side, we'll get you ready for Thursday Night Football, Bills and Dolphins. Keep it right here, so drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics, 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
This weekly football preview is brought to you by MD Anderson Cancer Center.
Well, fans are excited for another week of football as we enter week 2 of the season, with many teams getting ready to take the field for their home openers this weekend. San Francisco heads to Minnesota, Las Vegas takes on Baltimore, and Pittsburgh is set to play in Denver.
At MD Anderson Cancer Center, we're doing whatever it takes to end lung cancer. Visit MDAndersonLungCancer.com to learn more.
MD Anderson Cancer Center is again ranked #1 in the nation for cancer care by U.S. News & World Report's Best Hospitals rankings. Our physicians treat more types of cancers in a day than many see in their whole career. This unmatched depth of expertise, combined with our groundbreaking discoveries, gives our patients access to the most innovative treatment options. Learn more at mdanderson.org.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Mitchell Schwartz. You know, there's nothing easier to enjoy than watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings located at 152 Highway and North Flintlock Road in KC Mo on Thursday, September 12th. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. For more details, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
At Shane Company, we'll help you design an engagement ring as unique as your love story. We have the widest selection of diamonds and gemstones for you to choose from, and you can compare them side by side right here in our store. Only at Shane Company can you sift through exquisite diamonds, rubies, and a rainbow of sapphires in a variety of shapes and sizes. We'll help you create your dream engagement ring no matter your price range. Choose the ring setting that speaks to your style, from classic to modern to vintage. We offer so many ways to personalize your ring. Pick your favorite center stone, add a decorative crown and a custom engraving, or select a perfectly preset ring that's ready to go. At Shane Company, our jewelers know how much your ring means to you. They hand-set each center stone with precision and pride in our jewelers' workshop, so you can feel confident knowing your ring is crafted with the greatest care. and comes with an unmatched free lifetime warranty that lets you know we'll always be here for you. Your love story deserves to shine bright. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
What does it mean to be the official information technology provider for the Chiefs? It means everything. Technology Group Solutions makes sure everything runs flawlessly for the millions of fans that attend games and the hundreds of millions of fans that comprise Chiefs Kingdom around the world. Technology Group Solutions can deploy that same dedication, problem solving, and incredible service to ensure your business runs smoothly. Technology Group Solutions, powering Chiefs Kingdom and ready to do the same for you.
You've been waiting, and now is the time. Golden Oak Lending has fixed mortgage rates at 4.875%. But don't wait, this rate won't last forever. Call today and take advantage of our low 4.875 fixed rate. Call 913-890-GOLD. That's 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
5.784 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
What's better than one win? 3 wins. With Straight Savings, you keep your own phone, get one line for only $25 a month with real unlimited data, and get rewarded with a $200 phone credit after 12 months. It's a win-win-win. Head to Walmart or visit straighttalk.com today. Switch to Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Straight Savings Plan enrollment requires compatible unlocked device and new line of service. Bonus device credit requires 12 months of active service. Offer ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. Taxes and fees apply. For network management practices, see Straight Talk's terms and conditions.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this. If something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
O'Reilly.
You've got questions? O'Reilly Auto Parts has answers. Need a pro you can trust? We've got that too. No matter what you need, our professional parts people have the training and expertise to help you do things right. Deep automotive knowledge. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Calling all Kansas City football fans to downtown Las Vegas. Join us at Circa Resort and Casino this October for the ultimate game day getaway. Huddle up at Overhang Bar with 96.5 The Fan for our pregame tailgates on Fridays with drink specials and giveaways, including a pair of game day tickets. Then catch all the action at the world's largest sportsbook or lounge in the center of it all at America's favorite place to watch football, Stadium Swim, featuring 6 pools and a massive 143-foot screen. To book your Huddle Up experience, visit CircaLasVegas.com today.
This report is brought to you by Flying H Drag Strip. Drag racing is back in Kansas City. FlyingHDragStrip.com.
Kansas City, drag racing is back. Don't miss the fall SmackDown, September 19th through 21st at Flying H Drag Strip. For tickets and info, visit FlyingHDragStrip.com. The real horsepower hangout.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Lots of slowdowns across the metro. Got a multi-car crash westbound 435 just past Quivira, closing 2 right lanes, and another collision involving multiple vehicles southbound 35 just before 119th Street. 2 left lanes closed there. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Kane is in the building.
Welcome to your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Welcome back into the drive on 96.5 The Fan. Rob, if you had to offer up one bet for the people, what bet would you offer up tonight for Thursday Night Football? The bet that I would offer up, because you get a no-sweat token on one of the sports book apps, I would tell you to take the Josh Allen anytime touchdown today. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. He has 7 rushing touchdowns in their last 7 games. I like Josh Allen at an anytime rush touchdown. If you really want to get spicy with it with your no sweat token, I would tell you to take the first touchdown. Buffalo goes down the field. It's 1st and goal from the 2-yard line. They do a quarterback keeper with Josh Allen. He scores the first touchdown of the game. I believe you can get that at plus 600. So that would be the bet I would tell you to take today.
Speaking of what the sportsbook have, FanDuel, our friends at FanDuel have a no sweat same game parlay tonight.
Yes.
Do you know what I would put as many legs or you want in there, but for me, Keon Coleman plus 270 anytime touchdown and Bills on the money line. That's the play tonight. You think the Bills are going to win. I think the Bills are going to win. Screw the points. Just take them on the money line and add Keon Coleman. You can juice it up a little bit. If you go Keon Coleman anytime touchdown and Bills on the money line, I do this live in real time, you are going to get a parlay of plus 489.
It's not bad.
And it's a no sweat. So if you're wrong, take that money back, play it on Sunday, play it on Saturday, play it on Friday night, whatever have you. But Keon Coleman's going to score a touchdown this year. Might as well be now, and we both think the Bills are winning.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm taking Buffalo, too. I'm using them as my 100% profit boost that you can double up on what you're going to get. You're going to give me Buffalo at plus money. I think they're the better team, and home field doesn't really seem to matter in this. Also, looking at the weather, I think it favors the team that wants to ground and pound, and run the football. I think that's going to be Buffalo. I really like Buffalo today. I really like them in this game. You know where I am on Miami. I think Buffalo is just the more physical of these two teams, and in a game in which I think weather is going to be a factor, I think that's a major, major difference, and I think that could be enough for a team that wants to get out and run with the speed that they have on the outside. I think that could be a little bit of a difference. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take Josh Allen anytime touchdown. Again, that's my favorite one. I like them on the money line, too. If you want to parlay those two things, I don't really see the Bills winning if Josh Allen doesn't score a touchdown in this game. So you might can give yourself a little bit better juice if you want to go ahead and combine those two.
I'll also say this about the Bills game tonight. I mean, the Bills, if they go out and dominate the Dolphins, the conversation tomorrow in the national media, maybe not this show, but the national media is going to be, are the Bills a Super Bowl threat? I want to get ahead of that because you know how Chiefs 100%. Fans are. If any other team is considered a Super Bowl threat, Chiefs fans get very in their feelings. But let the Bills dominate tonight in that game and let Josh Allen do it with mediocre weapons. The conversation tomorrow on Stephen A. Smith, on Breakfast Ball, on First Things First, on any of those shows, the conversation is, are the Bills a Super Bowl contender? And it's going to come faster than we think.
Yeah, I think the conversation also is going to happen. You know how I think. I think Devontae Adams is going to get traded at the deadline. If there's a team that you could see pushing their chips in the middle of the table to go get a receiver that could help get them over the hump, it would make sense if it's the Buffalo Bills.